Here at Plus CBD Oil, we believe it is essential to make different products for different lifestyles. That's why we've created 3 different formulas to fit your personal wellness regimen. We start with our raw formula. This formula is a full-spectrum, whole-plant CO2 extract from agricultural hemp. The most prominent compound in our raw formula is CBDA, a naturally occurring cannabinoid produced in hemp. CBDA is CBD in its acid form, with its own unique properties. For example, it does not cross the blood-brain barrier, meaning it exerts most of its benefits in the body, making it a true hemp superfood. The next step is our total plant complex, where our raw formula undergoes a gentle heating process that converts CBDA into activated CBD. Now that CBD has been activated, it has the ability to affect all organ systems. Aside from CBD, our total plant complex is rich in many other phytocannabinoids and phytonutrients, such as fatty acids, terpenes, plant sterols, chlorophyll, and naturally occurring vitamin E. We then distill our total plant complex in a chemical-free process to make our signature gold formula. This removes the plant material while concentrating the other phytonutrients, making it the most potent, fastest-acting, and effective formula we offer. If you're looking for high-intensity support or just want more CBD, our gold formula products may be right for you. Because everyone utilizes phytocannabinoids differently, each experience will be personal and unique. Empower yourself and see which color, red, green, or gold, works best for you. Learn more about what our 3 different formulas can do for you at pluscbdoil.com.
David Kennedy, Casey Craichy.
The Robert Scott Bell Show.
I listen to get accurate, up-to-date information.
I've learned so much from him. It is awesome. It's the best entertainment that I've found.
You rock the health world. Keep it up. I love you.
Now, the voice of health, freedom, and liberty, here's Robert Scott Bell.
All right, it's time. We're back. Where are we? We are in Orlando, Florida at the Doctors Who Rock event, the Get Your Life Back Now event, the ACIM medical event, thanks to Dr. Lee Cowden. And this gentleman to my left, no, he's not a scary dude. He's really a teddy bear. Dr. David Kennedy, my good friend, and he was just speaking this afternoon. I was emceeing this morning and spoke at the event this morning as well. And David Kennedy, of course, has done instrumental work over the many years on the issue, particularly of fluoride toxicity and raising the alarm bells, also associated mercury and heavy metal toxicity, and works with Boyd Haley as well on some great remedies, if we will, things to remediate mercury and heavy metal toxicity. Cool let me check in with Super Don. I'm not going to put you on screen because obviously your head would cover David Kennedy's head, and he's just like right now, he's the man. So Super D just checking in on the craziness out in the world. I heard something happen in the important stuff, the NFL, right? The football game.
Yes, of course. Well, I'm trying to get some football in between things this season. And last night, Thursday Night Football, it was the Cleveland Browns versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Browns were winning. It was a good game, but in the last 8 seconds, Myles Garrett from the Cleveland Browns got into it with Rudolph, the quarterback of the Steelers, and ripped his helmet off and hit him over the head with it.
What?
Everybody was just in shock, just going, wait a minute, I've never seen anything like that before in the NFL.
Is that like roid rage? I mean, that's like that. You can go to jail for that.
Listen, there's a huge rivalry between the Browns and the Steelers, but he took it to the next level, and for whatever reason, he just lost his cool and snapped.
Wow.
And clubbed Rudolph over the head with his own helmet, and apparently he's been indefinitely suspended. I'm sure there's going to be fines involved as well, but that's all everybody in the NFL is talking about.
So it was somebody from the Browns doing that to somebody from the Steelers.
Correct.
Okay, so the Cleveland Browns, that used to be like, remember Cuyahoga River caught on fire in our lifetime? I think they've remedied that a little bit, but
the EPA.
The EPA, yeah. Dr. David Kennedy, people under the influence of mercury and fluoride and things, I mean, do they do crazy stuff like this too?
They still got the fluoride, so
Yeah.
yeah, they do.
Yeah. I just look for rational explanations when there seemingly are none. The other thing we know with the violence is the fluoride-based drugs like Prozac.
Go down, you see
Prozac, Fenton, Fenfermine, Cipro. It's in 150 different drugs.
I just had on Ann Blake Tracy the other day. She's been writing about the Prozacs of the world and how they are responsible for pretty much every one of the mass killings, the big shootings, school shootings. They find that all of the perpetrators were on some form of psychiatric medication. Of course, Prozac has a fluoride, element to it.
And they claim it's not released, but if you're measuring the urine, there's a lot more fluoride coming out of them. So, if it's not released, where's that coming from?
How did that happen? Exactly.
It's like, they make claims, but they don't.
We should have with
right.
Science. I don't know
so
if
you're in the Orlando, Florida area today, where we are, come on down to the Florida Hotel and Conference Center on Sand Lake Road, and we're going to have a big dress-up event tonight, tuxedos and everything for the Doctors Who Rock event. There might be a few seats still left, but if you haven't made it till today's events, tomorrow, Saturday the 16th of November, for those of you listening and watching live around the world, the Robert Scott Bell Show will be here again. I'll be doing some pre-records, but there are more fantastic presentations, and they're going to give you a special deal to come in. So don't think that, I didn't get tickets in advance, I'm hosed. You can join us all day Saturday, and I will let you know for my that's you guys and gals out there, specifically if you're in Orlando. After the event tomorrow, I've got to do a local vaccine event that is sold out in downtown Orlando, but then we're coming back to the Florida Hotel and Conference Center because they're going to show the movie Vaxxed 2, The People's Truth, at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time at the Florida Hotel and Conference Center. So if you're interested and weren't able to catch it in the theaters where they were playing, then consider coming down to the location for the Docs Who Rock event, the ACIM, and the Get Your Life Back Now event, which should be linked in the show notes at robertscottbell.com. I'm going to check. Super Don, are the links up for where we are today still? I know you put it in yesterday's.
Got a big old banner right at the top of the show notes.
Cool. Very cool. So let's open with a story here. I've got Dr. David Kennedy with me for a little while to start the day. And let me see if I can grab the screen grab of this. There it is. Medicines pose global environmental risk, experts warn. I'm like, really? Where did you think all of these medicines would go? If you ingest them, you're urinating them out. Their byproducts are some of the unused medicines. If you dump them out, they end up in the water supply, and municipally treated systems do not treat for drugs in the water.
No.
And so you'll find Prozac in the water supply, in addition to the fluoride that they're already adding in many places, David. So environmental risk, a risk? Risk is like, it may be. I mean, I'm thinking this is a present danger.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Environmental degradation, I think, would probably be a better term.
Yeah. So when we look at these drugs, here's the thing about our excretory system. It's designed by God to process metabolic waste. You eat something, you have a normal waste product that's been in the waste product industry of your body since your body has been a body and long before, right?
Stuff like food.
Food, right. You eat food. There's waste. True. Now, there may be trace elements that are not great for you. We talk about fluoride. It is found in the earth. I mean, it's not like what happens, of course, when they mine for bauxite and aluminum. It's a massive waste product that they ended up selling back to us as the stupid people and make us stupider. Say, hey, we've got this toxic stuff. What do we do with it? We'll have to dispose of it. It'll cost us. Hey, how about if we sell it back to the stupid people in America?
Yeah,
they'll buy it.
They don't care. They'll be sucking it up and giving it to the babies.
Right. Amazing. And so they sold it. False bill of goods, toxic bill of goods. And the ability to detox excess heavy metals, fluoride, different things. I know that our body knows how to deal with minerals and metals, but there's an overwhelming ability or inability, if you say, to congest the system to such a degree that it's just like, dude, that's just too much. We need help.
You know, the fluoride is a very weakly excreted by human beings. If you take in two molecules, one goes out and one stays in for the rest of your life and goes in your bones. Mm-hmm. So, that's a really retentive poison. So, the mercury, 27 years is the half-life of mercury in your brain. So if you ever played with the thermometer or broke a fluorescent bulb, the mercury you inhaled from that got into your brain, it takes 27 years to get half of it out in a normal person. Some people excrete it worse. They were the ones that get Alzheimer's.
Right. Or as young people, autism.
Autism in babies, young people, and older people. The mercury-related diseases. My list is MS, Parkinson's, ALS, Alzheimer's, autism, and so and kidney failure. So it's a terrible poison. It should never be used in a filling. It should never be used in lights. You should get an incandescent bulb or a candle would be better than a mercury-containing fluorescent tube. Every fireman that ever ran into a burning building where there were fluorescent tubes got a huge dose of mercury.
Well, now, let me differentiate. Maybe I'm wrong here, but if I remember those long fluorescent tubes versus the CFLs, which are these twisty tubes that we know contain mercury, supposed to save you on energy, money, and all that. But I don't recall the regular fluorescents being mercury laden. Were they? Is that something new?
The little one has about a milligram of mercury in it, and the long one has about 5, and some of the big long ones have like 8.
And how many times have you in your lifetime, y'all, you know who you are, you had these long tubes crack, it's like dust, and all kinds of crap that comes out, and mercury.
Well, the mercury is what they do, a fluorescent tube, is they use electricity to excite mercury. And it puts out light in the invisible range. It's 253.7 angstrom. You can't see it. It'll burn your eyes. And so the white stuff that comes out of a fluorescent tube is phosphorus. They coat the inside of the tube with phosphorus so that alters the light so that you have a visible light, so that the damaging mercury vapor light, it's still in the light. So it's terrible light. It's real nasty light.
I hate that light.
Yeah, it's nasty light. Dr. Ott did a study at a school where he changed he used grow light fluorescence in rooms, and then the regular fluorescence in rooms, and then they tracked the children. And the interesting thing is they not only found that the children were sick more in the rooms with the ordinary fluorescent lights, they scored lower on their test scores, and the teacher was sick more. And so, it's just terrible light. But, what's the light got to do with your eyes? Well, I born and raised on a farm. You want a chicken to lay eggs, you put a light bulb in the chicken coop. And even a blind chicken, the eye has a receptor. And so do yours. And so if you're under odd light all day long, or you wear tinted glasses and filter the light, you need sunlight in your eyes. You don't need...
Yeah, exactly. I don't even wear sunglasses. I like natural light. Obviously I'm not staring at the sun at noon. That's not a good idea either. But the idea of natural light versus what there are the old incandescents didn't have mercury in them. They had tungsten as the filament, but
they were light in the normal spectrum though. But you just look at one. It's not stark white. And there's lights actually outside the normal spectrum that are coming out of fluorescence. So yes, incandescent light was actually a pretty good light.
So Dr. David Kennedy, give us an update. You've appeared on the show many times over the years. I love and appreciate you so much. It's so good to see you. The latest update, what are you working on? Is there any breakthrough knowledge that my audience doesn't know yet that you've been working on?
Well, I hesitate to tell you because they may not know, but they can't get it. The product that was sold by Boyd Haley for years and years is called OSR, and the FDA took it off the market because parents of autistic children reported that they had recovered because what OSR does is it removes all the mercury from your body in a blink. And so apparently that's really good for autistic children who receive shots of mercury on the day of birth. And Alzheimer's patients quit forgetting, and
so it was sold as a dietary supplement, was it not?
Yeah, it's made out of 2 natural ingredients. It's a benzoic ring, and cysteamine is an amino acid. You eat cysteamine every time you eat a steak or cow or anything with lots of protein in it. So these are 2 natural ingredients, and the FDA rules at the time says any ingredient or 2 natural ingredients can be sold as a supplement as long as the seller doesn't make any claims.
Right.
Well, Boyd didn't make any claims. However, the parents of autistic children began to blog with each other about how much recovery that they had, how the kid had eye contact, and
they can't have
quit
that.
acting out. Well, who made him stop selling it was the people that caused that. Is that can come from the mother's teeth. Mercury in the mother's teeth goes into the fetus. We've proven it. It goes into the fetus. It goes into the breast milk.
Yeah.
Drosh showed it goes into the fetus, and the sudden infant death syndrome is related to that. And then And so the vaccine on the day of birth, if you look at the, you're going to see tonight, the Vaxxed program,
Right.
too. But, that was all about a whistleblower that showed that, basically injecting the child on the day of birth with the hepatitis B vaccine that contained a lot of mercury was the precipitation of the huge increase in autism in this country. And so the very people that allowed that stuff to happen are the ones that stopped him from selling it. So what is the name of those people? Those people are called the Food and Drug Administration. I'm speaking for myself, not for the company.
I call them the Fear and Death Administration.
Or the Center for Disease Causation.
Yes,
so,
correct.
So they basically are doing the same thing that any guilty person would do, is you're trying to silence,
cover it up, silence it, suppress it.
The voice of criticism. And so they did. And so that's the bad news. And the good news is that 1,000 of the physicians and dentists that used it in their practice got together and they pushed poor old Boyd. He's past his retirement age by a long shot.
Yeah.
And it's coming back as a
OTC?
registered. No,
or
it's never going to be they won't let you sell it over the counter because now it's an unapproved drug. You can't even give it away. But you can buy Chinese knockoff,
right?
But people are getting sick from that because it's contaminated. But it's coming back as a pure pharmaceutical drug.
Well, that means it's going to be a legend. In other words, it's going to have to be prescribed by a physician.
Right. You're going to have in this country.
Yeah.
You can go to Mexico and you'll be able to get it over the
counter. So
I
need to let people know the moment's available in Mexico because that's ridiculous. If you can pull mercury out and you're not going to harm them in the process, that's a good thing. How can you describe that being a bad thing?
Well, that's why we have to shut that down, because it's people are living too long and they're remembering stuff.
Exactly. It tells me that this is a nefarious agenda. I talked about it a little bit in my lecture about the Real ID Act and what's behind it, what they're trying to do by capturing everybody through other means. And then, by the way, if your ID that you now have is biometrically connected to you with the numbers and such, your medical records are right here, and they show us that you're not up to date on your booster vaccines. Adults.
Yeah, I'm happy not to be up to date.
Well, of course. But now they're going to say you can't go through TSA. Of course, then I'm going to be with David Kennedy on his plane because he can fly unless they say, your pilot's license is now void because you're not booster shot on measles.
They haven't got that funny yet.
Yeah, I know. But that's, see where they're going. We're led by a bunch of idiots. And those idiots are led by a bunch of nefarious schemers that want to take over the world.
Well, the nefarious schemers are basically they hire the idiots.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Idiots are employees. And, in Auschwitz, you were mentioning how the Nazis handled the trouble with people in the World War II.
Yeah.
Is that when they went to trial in Nuremberg, they said, I was just following orders.
Right.
For the idiots, by the way, if that's not an excuse. Those people got rope around their neck. And died. So just saying I'm following orders doesn't excuse your behavior.
Doesn't apply. Yeah, and you look at the orders they're following. What is the result? If you're going to mandate injection with toxic substances, including heavy metals, we've talked about aborted fetal cell lines on animal RNA and DNA. I mean, that does not belong in an injection. I mean, if you eat an animal, the digestive system, it does things that are way different than injecting an animal into you.
How about the flu shot?
Right.
Who wants to go get a shot of mercury? Go get your. They made 250 million flu shots. 240 million contained thimerosal, ethyl mercury, the exact same thing we're talking about. And it's not a little tiny bit.
No.
A little tiny bit of mercury will harm you. The stuff they got in the flu shot is a lot.
Right, and again, the route of administration, it's not sequestered in the GI tract with microflora, different things that can bind it.
You didn't eat it with a fish.
Right, exactly. And selenium, remember y'all, selenium's so important as a mineral in terms of binding. And I remember Mike Adams did some studies on sequestering mercury in the GI tract, and he found that the fiber in strawberries, interestingly enough, when you ate, when you ran it through a GI simulator, that the fiber in the strawberries would bind and grab the mercury, and it was non-soluble, so it would carry it on through if you happen to eat a fish, for instance, that had mercury.
Mercury loves sulfur.
Yeah.
Mercury loves sulfur, so diets that are high in sulfur, which are things like beans or garlic, that the mercury has a chance to get bound up in the intestine before it gets through your wall of your gut and into your bloodstream and up into your brain.
Yeah.
You don't mind if it gets in your toe. You really mind if it gets in your brain, because then you can't remember anything. It takes. If you ever see somebody that has what's called a demyelinating disease, like tubulin is falling off of the nerve, that's mercury.
Yeah.
Is that there's an excellent video. You can see it on on YouTube. It's called How Mercury Causes Neurodegeneration. It's out of a scientific study. And they show they reach in and put 10 to the minus 6 mercury in a cell culture that's growing. And immediately the cells stop going, the tubulin falls off, and they form neurofibrillar tangles. If anybody is familiar with Alzheimer's, one of the characteristics is demyelination and neurofibrillar tangles. That Boyd Haley wrote an article years ago in Medical Veritas that his research that mercury either exacerbates or causes Alzheimer's disease, and he showed why he says that, and he's got the data. It's really, really clear. But the guilty parties continue to deny.
And it's amazing.
I know. That's not surprising to me.
No.
Most of the murderers I see tried in court and so forth, they don't get them and say, I did it.
No, deny. Listen, folks, even if they get away with it seemingly out here, they're going to have to face their maker one day. And whether that's enough to get them to come to God at that point, I don't know. But I've said this so many times. People that are willing to visit such horrific atrocities on other people have lost their way. They've lost their connection to source. And they now, basically, as you said, follow orders. Who are those orders coming from? Not, a supreme deity that actually knows and created the universe, but a government that artificially created things that can be harmful to you. And then other entities captured that government, those agencies.
It's money.
Yeah.
As long as we have elected officials who accept money from industry, you're going to have elected officials doing industry billing, and that's not how this country is founded. We need to take that ability away.
We do.
We either need to fund this and then put the people in jail that take money from industry.
Yeah,
and I think that's a good idea.
Speaking of funding, how can we help Boyd Haley get this substance on the market in America?
Well, he's. As we say in flying, he's on short funnel. We've managed to satisfy every concern the regulators in the EU and the Colombia and the United States have about the drug. They know it's safe. They said that at a meeting in March 4th. We know it's safe, and now they want us to do a few more studies. These studies are going to cost about $3 to $6 million, and I don't have $3 or $6 million. That he's selling stock in the company called Amerimed. It's a privately held company that Boyd and me and 2 or 3 other people put a lot of money in, and a lot of people put a little bit of money in, $50,000 to $100,000. We need another $3 million to $6 million.
So how do they find out if they want to support the efforts? Where do they go?
They go Emeramed.com, EMERAMED.com.
Emeramed.
Emeramed.
Okay.
And it's a stupid name. And
whatever, dude.
I can't
hey,
help.
man. David, I appreciate you. You know so much. And
I should call it I Need Money Now.
Right. Yeah, I need money now.com, right? Yeah, everybody needs it once. But again, if you're so moved, that's why I like to put this out. Dr. David Kenny has been working hard on this issue for longer than, most people around listening to the show have been alive. Most of them, not everyone. And Boyd Haley's an amazing, brilliant scientist as well in what he's done. And we appreciate you and all of his efforts as well.
That there's 2 clinical trials ongoing right now, and that they're on iron.
Okay.
And iron, I didn't even know this. That when we started this odyssey 10 years ago, when they stopped the sale of OSR, that one of the things that kept coming up is that people that had iron overload disease kept getting better on the old product OSR. Right. And so what's happening right now in Europe is that there's ongoing clinical trials with atypical Parkinson's and thalassemia, which are iron overload. Okay. Well, what's iron got to do with mercury? Well, lots. Is that mercury knocks the iron loose from its binding sites. You need iron. You need iron in your red blood cells. You need iron inside your mitochondria for the energy production. And so a lot of fatigue has to do with the fact that the iron has been removed from where it belongs, and now it's out making a mess out of your mitochondria.
Right.
So it causes the mitochondrial disease that is destroying people's health and energy.
And also I've noticed with iron, copper imbalances, if you don't have adequate copper, iron can't be utilized appropriately, and it's misdiagnosed as
it knocks the copper loose too.
Right.
And Hal Huggins years ago said, the minerals are all out of whack. They're all discombobulated. So So anyway, the interesting thing is that we can actually show this in a clinical study, is that we can capture that iron and the mercury that knocked it loose, and these people get remarkably better.
Beautiful,
and so that's underway at this time, and we know what's going to happen because we've had enough experience with it as 2.5 million doses. You think maybe you might have noticed something after 2.5 million?
You're not paying attention? What? What?
What?
All right. Dr. David Kennedy, appreciate you so much. Thank you for dropping by and being here. Get to hang out with you
Thanks
as
for getting
always.
the word out.
Bonus time, man.
All right. These are my opinions, by the way. They're not Boyd Haley's. They're just mine.
Yes, and they should be yours, too. How's that? Okay. We're going to take a break here. Say thanks to our friends at Trinity School of Natural Health for supporting this message of health, freedom, and healing liberty. TrinitySchool.org. They've got a great program in iridology. How would you like to learn to do that? Read somebody's eyes and know what's going on? Pretty cool. When we come back, I think I've got Casey Craichy scheduled. We're hoping to get Zach Bush on today. Let's see, who else might we get on the show? Marlene Siegel is here. There's a lot of cool people. And, folks, if you're not here, get over here. We're at the Florida Hotel and Conference Center in Orlando off of Sand Lake Road. We look forward to seeing you, and we'll be back with more powerful healing. The Robert Scott Bell Show, robertscottbell.com, through naturalnewsradio.com. Back in just a moment.
For thousands of years, the iris has been examined to determine potential deficiencies and health issues in the body. Every human optic nerve contains between 800,000 to 1.7 million nerve fiber endings. These nerves connect our eyes to the brain and continue down our spinal cord, connecting to every organ and gland in our body. This course utilizes the iridology chart developed by Bernard and Ellen Jensen, which tells us what markings in the iris may be pointing to issues in certain organs or glands. In this course, you will learn how to identify the genetic strengths and weaknesses with organs, glands, and tissues, tendencies towards tissue irritation and inflammation, how to find the potential ability of an organ's reaction to the presence of illness, discernment of familial patterns of illness, including digestive issues, blood sugar tendencies, blood anomalies, and heart issues, and how to locate potential nervous system imbalances, spinal subluxations, circulatory disturbances, connective tissue weakness, and much, much more. Iridology is a fascinating art and science. Learning it will change the way you look at the human eye. If you're interested in learning iridology or have questions whether it's right for you or not, please send us an email or call and get started on your journey to transform the world.
All right, we're back. Yes, we are. Guess who's here now? I got to raise the camera. He's so tall. Look at that. It's Dr. Lee Cowden. Dr. Lee, the reason we're all here together, folks, boys and girls, and the reason you should be here. Dr. Lee Cowden with ACIM. We've got the Doctors Who Rock event. We're going to honor some folks tonight. And we also have, of course, the Get Your Life Back Now, thanks to Kelly Gallagher, doing such great work, honoring those that usually are largely the unsung heroes. You did this. I was here a couple of years ago and just was so moved by the acknowledgement and also those that acknowledge you. Not that I didn't know that, but it was so cool to see all the people that send you their love and appreciation, including Elle McPherson, who's totally cool. And maybe we'll get her on the show if she's not too nervous.
Yeah, she's a little bit more nervous than I expected her to be.
I know for someone that's like, the level of celebrity and movies and modeling and all of that, but she's just so, how would you say? She's obviously charming and just so sweet and very intelligent, invested in this, and just impressive.
Yeah, well, she has a nutraceutical company in Australia, and she's doing a lot of good for the health of people down in Australia, and we want to see her bring those products, in a bigger way into the United States.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
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 So I'll talk to her about that if she's up for it. But, I know that she's been open about working with you, and many people have that you've worked with them, that you've helped so many over the years. How is the ACIM, the medical event on site that's going on upstairs? It's a simulcast. How's everything going?
It's fantastic up there. We had some knock it out of the ballpark presentations. The last one I heard up there before I had to come down here was Zach Bush.
Yes, Zach spoke down here, and I introduced him. He was fantastic, and I want him on the show.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've had him on, but the quality of presentations have been just tremendous.
Yeah.
Fortunately, you weren't down here when I was speaking because people were running out of the room scary, screaming, Robert, get Robert up. But no, we had a good time talking.
I doubt that.
Yeah. We had a great time talking with the folks on a lot of different things. And, this is a time where we cannot be quiet.
No.
They're trying to silence us. As you know, you've been at this for so many years, and they have now gone to extreme measures within our outreach through social media and different super Google level tech stuff.
Yeah.
And has there been any discussion here about getting together with folks and trying to overdo and outdo it?
Yeah, that needs to happen for sure. The people that want to have health freedom need to join together, arm in arm, and march forward together to put force on Washington, D.C. and on the state governments to force health freedom, because it's not going to happen, just spontaneously. There's too much money in the pharmaceutical industry that's against that.
So I'm sure that the enthusiasm will be, we need to, but it's interesting because everybody's got their lane, even within our realm. You see every different doctor. Sometimes they agree, sometimes they disagree. But, I've always been about, listen, we got a lot of paths to get well. And if we say we are a monolith and it's only one way, we're as bad as the pharmaceutical industry, right?
Yeah, sure. No, at the time of the formation of this country back in 1770s, Benjamin Franklin said, "Gentlemen, if we do not hang together, we will certainly hang separately." And he was making a pun, but that's a painful pun. And I think the same thing is happening to the integrative doctors around the country, and a lot of the companies that make products and devices for integrative doctors. They're getting attacked and put out of business because of not hanging together.
Yeah, and so as we see a diversity of perspective and opinion, again, there are common things you can find in agreement.
Yeah.
But the question is, can we overcome whatever differences that are perceived, or even if they're real a little bit? This has been I would say a struggle for humanity in a sense, because ego gets in the way. A lot of times people have very great innovations and they've got the self-importance scenario. And so dealing with doctors, a lot of doctors have big egos, right?
Yeah, but I want each doctor and each nutraceutical company and each device manufacturer and each organization that comes together to all maintain their own individuality and their own personality.
We respect that.
But all we want to do is to join arms, across those groups, to have one bigger group, and for a common purpose. The common purpose is so that we can have freedom.
Yeah, exactly. We have given up on that. And I say this to doctors out there that are listening. I know we've got a lot of fans that are doctors of the Robert Scott Bell Show here. And I feel for you, because you went into a profession that I thought as a young child I always knew I would be a healer, a doctor, because the only image I had was a medical one.
Yeah.
And when I found out through my young experience all the things they did to me, I said, if I was that, I would be miserable. And so I took a different path in life, not knowing there was anything else until I found homeopathic medicine and other things. And then found out, hey, man, there's a lane for everybody, and there's a way we can all connect on that.
Yeah.
But also the restriction on doctors, who more often than not, I believe, go in for the right reasons, then find that they're stuck and trapped in a system that is not what they expected.
That's exactly right. And there's a very strong push from the pharmaceutical industry to transform certain schools into medical schools. For example, at the Texas College of Osteopathic Medicine years ago, they were receiving grants from the pharmaceutical industry, and one year it came time to receive the grant, and they said, we'll give you a grant this year only if you change the name of your school where it doesn't have the word osteopathic in it.
Right.
Okay. And so they said, well, we need that grant. So they changed the name of the school. And then the year after that, they said, okay, we'll give you the grant this year if you make sure that you don't treat osteopathy on campus. You can teach it off campus. So in 2 years' time, they changed an osteopathic school into a medical school, and started prescribing drugs. Well,
and I referenced this briefly in my lecture, and I've talked about this on the air. I spoke at a naturopathic gastroenterology conference, out west. And it was one of the oldest, if not the oldest, naturopathic school in the country.
Yeah.
I was the only homeopath. They were all naturopaths graduates.
Yeah.
I was the only one who presented that entire day that did not use one pharmaceutical drug in remediating or addressing any of these GI
high
issues.
five to you.
Well,
but that's really sad. That,
that's my point.
Yeah, naturopathic schools should be not using pharmaceuticals very rarely.
Yes, capture. They've been captured.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a good integrative doctor, I'll say it this way: an alternative medicine doctor, purely alternative medicine, will hop through life on one foot. A good allopathic doctor will hop through life on the other foot, but a good integrative doctor will walk through life on both feet and run if they need to.
Right.
Okay.
Finding ways to utilize the tools that we have appropriately, not to the exclusion necessarily of others, but as I've said to many folks, I said, look, I was raised pharmaceutically in a medical family.
Yeah.
I've raised my children with no vaccines and no antibiotics. Are you mad at me? Or are you going, hey, that's cool, I wish I could do that too? It's like, well, you can, but you've got to live differently. You've got to understand how really things work.
Yeah, you have to learn something. And it's my belief that high school students should not be allowed to graduate high school until they can pass an exam about their health.
I thought you meant a urinalysis test. No, not that too.
That too, maybe.
Yeah. What are you on? All right. But no, that would be an important step, right?
Yeah, because so many people have almost zero knowledge about their own health. How can you be proactive and do something about health freely if you don't understand anything about your health?
Right.
So the first step is knowledge, gaining knowledge, and applying knowledge appropriately.
Yeah.
Knowledge applied appropriately is called wisdom.
Beautifully said. ACIMconnect.com. You'll learn more about for all our medical brethren out there, osteopaths and naturopaths even, and chiropractors. Come on down from the medical side. There's more. This is the last day of that event, I think, right? And then it's transitioning fully tomorrow?
Well, yeah, tomorrow we have both events going on
Oh,
still.
simultaneously still.
Simultaneously, yeah. And so we want anybody to come that has any inkling of a desire to learn something about integrative medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
We want to embrace anybody that says, well, maybe what I'm doing is not the right thing, but I don't know what else to do.
Right.
Well, we want to meet you. We want to see what we can do to help you come into a new vision of healthcare. I think that the present healthcare system is misnamed because it's really not about health. It's about illness maintenance.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of care left because there's so much paperwork.
Right.
There's not enough time.
No, and that was my uncle, the doctor, the medical doctor.
Yeah.
He warned me when I was a teenager. He says, Don't become a doctor. He's like, but Uncle, this is what my dream is. I want to help people get well. It was just in me, right?
Yeah.
And he says, look, and this was back in the 80s, I think.
Yeah.
He said, it's miserable. And where it's going, he warned me. He said, the government is going to completely take it over.
Yeah.
You won't do what you think you want to do. You won't be able to do it.
Yeah.
And I bless him to this day because I didn't understand what he was talking about at the time. And then years later, I figured it out and went a different path. But yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, well, we know that 50% of the physicians in the country have become disillusioned with and are frustrated with the present system and are thinking about either going into real estate or going into stock trading or something else.
I hear that all the time.
Getting out of medicine altogether. And some of those guys and gals went into for the right reason, but they've kind of lost their way.
Right.
And we want those people to come into our fold and say, let us teach you how to really help people in a way that is rewarding, where you feel like you're doing the right thing for the right reason.
Exactly. Well, that's what Dr. Lee Cowden has been doing for a long, long time, and teaching folks. That's the thing. You don't want to just know it and keep it to the vest and like no one should know what I know. You are really going out of your way to make sure these docs learn not only what you know, but others that you've worked with, and I appreciate that so very much.
Yeah. No, we want to have every practitioner that joins us to be part of our forum where we actually throw out questions there about difficult patients, and so that doctor will say, I've got this patient with these circumstances going on. Does anybody have an idea? And then in many cases, many other doctors opine, and that doctor says, oh, I hadn't thought about that or that or that. And so they start implementing some of those things into the treatment program for that patient, and now the patient gets well.
Well, it's like a cross-pollination scenario that happens here. We learn from each other, we teach each other, and not for the non-doctors out there, we have a simultaneous track with the Get Your Life Back Now seminar, and it's happening today and tomorrow.
Right.
There's still tickets available. Come on down. You'll get a special deal to come on in. You haven't missed everything, but if you're in the Orlando metro area or anywhere near it, drive on down and be with us all day Saturday.
Yeah.
And then we've just added, after the Saturday event concludes at 7:30, right to my left, you won't see it on camera, but it's called the Legends 2 Ballroom, where we're doing a lot of the talks I was emceeing and talking. I'll be emceeing tomorrow. Going a Vax 2, The People's Truth, on Saturday evening, so it'll continue into the evening.
Yeah. So we want everybody to come down and experience what we're doing, even if they can't be here for the whole day. Just come for part of the day.
Yeah.
Don't try to pre-register. Just come to the event, and we register at the event.
Yeah, and there's some really cool exhibits here. Dr. Cowden has cleared before they got here, and you can get in a far infrared sauna. You can do test rides on these technology things that are so awesome. I can't even hardly describe them, but they are experiential, and you can really feel the difference. So there's a lot you can do. Better than Disney, I think, for your health.
For your health,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Even though Disney's a lot of fun.
Disney's a lot of fun, but yeah.
But pulse electromagnetic field therapies and learning how to get the best water system for your house, for your office.
Yes. Absolutely. Beautiful. Well, Dr. Lee Cowden, any other messages you want to send out to the world while we have a moment? Because I know you're busy. I got so many people rolling through today at the show. It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I just want everybody that has a problem out there that doesn't think there's a solution to know that there almost certainly is a solution somewhere in the integrative medicine world.
Yeah.
So many patients are told there's nothing more that can be done for your condition. Go home and suffer or go home and die. But that is not what I have experienced. 99.999% of the time, there is an answer, okay? And so we're in the business of trying to find the answers for the patients that are given no hope.
Right. And folks, I've heard it from many people, patients, quote unquote. I've tried everything. You hear it all the time.
Yeah.
No, you haven't. There's always another step, another thing you haven't missed. Yeah. And I would just say, get sincere, get prayerful. Ask for the guidance and just get out of the way and allow it to come to you. Don't be the block because you say, I've tried. Stop it. Let it go. There's always something more you can do.
Yeah, one thing I've learned is that if you gain some knowledge first, then you can take that knowledge to God in prayer and say, God, what part of this knowledge is wisdom for me?
Beautiful.
Okay? And so it's sometimes hard to hear clearly from God if you don't know anything about these things. But if you go get some of the knowledge, which you can get here, then you go to God in prayer and say, okay, God, what part of this is wisdom for me? And what do you want me to do?
Beautiful. Well, Dr. Lee Cowden's awesome. I hope y'all appreciate him the way I do. If you haven't, you don't know him yet. That's why. So find out about him, acimconnect.com. We're going to take a break. We've got more guests, surprise guests coming up. Oh, one more thing?
I want everybody that's listening to become a free member right now. It's not going to be for much longer.
Okay.
A free member in our academy.
Yeah? Okay. How do they do that?
Well, they can just go to acimconnect.com and check mark become a general free member.
Okay.
And then they're free.
Super Don, you got that? acimconnect.com. Find it. They can become a general member for free for a limited time. Thanks to Dr. Lee Cowden.
Yeah.
Robert Scott Bell Show listeners, you know who you are. Sign up, become a free member with the ACIM. Thank you, Dr. Lee Cowden.
Thank you.
And thanks for inviting me back. You know, I enjoy this so much to see you and all that you bring together.
Well, you're just like a brother. You're like family, so we want you to be here.
Oh, well, blessed to know you, my brother. So we're going to take a break. We got lots more healing from the special event of the year, the ACIM, and all that surrounds it. Come on down to Orlando. If you're already here, we're here right now or tomorrow. We want to see you here, and we'll be back. The links are in the show notes at robertscottbell.com. Modulate your immune system with a little beta-glucan, especially for the kids this time of season, this time of year, and we'll be right back.
You can't protect your kids from everything. That includes germs, like a virus or a bacteria.
No. Don't touch.
Hi, Mrs. Jones. Can Tommy come out to play?
No. No matter how hard you try, you just can't be there every minute of the day.
Look what I found.
Where did you get that?
I found it in the street.
There's a better way. Help your child build a strong immune system with Beta Kids. No, it's not a vitamin. Vitamins build strong bones and tissues, but do little for the immune system. One delicious Beta Kids gummy daily wakes up the immune system, alerting your child's defenses to perform more, better, and faster. Studies have shown kids who take Beta Kids miss fewer school days due to illness. Beta Kids is made with beta-glucan, an all-natural ingredient. It's safe, healthy, and proven. You can't protect your kids from everything, but you can help them protect themselves with Beta Kids.
You know, he's really kind of,
disgusting.
yeah.
Good thing we give him Beta Kids.
Oh, I would have put powder on my face.
No worries. We have a very special guest joining us on the Robert Scott Bell Show now. A legend in movie, film, and modeling. Another friend. I've got too many supermodel friends, I know. Elle McPherson joins us on the Robert Scott Bell Show. Elle, so lovely to have you on the show, and you are just a bright light. And you and Andy, of course, I've known Andy for years as well. bringing such great knowledge and compassion to those in need. So thank you for all you're doing.
You're welcome. It's great to be here. It's really interesting seeing all these alternative practitioners, and I'm in the wellness business myself, and so
And Dr. Lee Cowden was saying that you got a whole setup out of Australia, and we don't know about it here in America so much. So
well, yeah, because it's actually not. It's a commercial product that we're selling that is restorative greens and protein and a sleep tea. So the company's name is Wellco, WELLE co.com. And it's Lee approved.
Okay, yeah, well, that's a big, gotta get up that hurdle.
Which is good. And basically our hero product is, 40 plus ingredients, including Chinese herbs and vitamins and minerals and, probiotics, prebiotics. And it's a sort of your daily multivitamin. And
Sure.
it really is.
Real food, though.
It's, it's a supplement, a powdered supplement. It's not a meal replacement because I think it's really important to get whole foods into the body.
Yeah.
And so basically it's really for people on the go that are finding that they're not getting enough plant-based greens in their diet.
Did you have a health challenge or scare that drove you into learning about, well, all these ailments, illnesses, diseases are not evidence of the deficiency of drugs? That concept. Oh, you have a drug deficiency. Here's another one, right? So you had a wake-up call sometime.
Yes, I did. And, first of all, I'm Australian. So, I grew up going to the chiropractor or the osteopath as a child. We didn't really have, I never was sick, and I didn't really.
So you weren't like the sickly kid like me?
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, okay.
So when I moved to America, I was like, first of all, I was shocked that you can advertise drugs on TV. Like,
well, no, New Zealand too.
Yeah, and that's something that I
Yeah.
just found out. But this concept of like people self-diagnosing and then going to their doctor and asking for, I think I need that drug. So that was a really interesting perspective, and I have nothing against that. Everybody has their own perspective on things. But listen, I've always been interested in wellness. When I was younger, I guess the concept was fitness. I was about calories and cardiovascular, and I didn't really understand anything about inflammation or, the quality of your water or how your emotional, spiritual well-being can affect your body or affect your wellness state. So I started to learn more and more what it took to actually be well.
Yes.
And on my journey, I met Dr. Cowden, and and then I met McCullough, and I met you, and I met all of many of the people, Zach Bush, and I started.
Zach's amazing.
Yeah, he was so
love him.
powerful today.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great.
Profound. I can't wait to have him on because we're going to talk about remediating the planet, not just individual
And
health.
that's what I thought was really interesting for him. And what I love about this integrative group of people together, everybody is looking at things from different angles. So you have, people that are looking at the quality of our water and making sure that it's filtered correctly. And you have people that are looking at the quality of the soil, like Zach. And, we have our silver guys.
Yes, yes.
And, you have the EMF guys. And then you have the guys that are talking about infrared saunas. So, this combination of everybody coming together for global healing, I think is really interesting.
Yeah, and to Lee Cowden's credit, I mean, how do you bring people together that have differences of opinion even in the natural product realm and say, no, we need to expose one another to this. We need to teach, and, everybody's got a lane, but I mean, if you claim exclusive monopoly over all of it, that just defeats the whole purpose. That's what Big Pharma claims.
Exactly.
Right?
And I think also if you look at that, if you look at that business model, is that you do have choice of in allopathic medicine. So as long as you're here and looking at wellness in general, I think it's incredible that there is so much choice. And it's a personal decision about what works for you. And you have, not everything works for every single body. And
yes.
there's not one size fits all.
What have we lost? And I said this in allopathic medicine, the listening. And I talked about, Casey Craichy asked me a question at the end of my lecture about 3 important things. And I just go right to spirit, the messages that we're trying to be given all of the time by all of creation, and how we don't listen and how we don't observe, or if we observe, we suppress the observation. Again, Andy got in trouble because he observed and reported. That's the basis of science. But you showed something that certain levels of control in an area said, we don't want that. to be observed and reported on. And again, to your credit as well, I see that you're willing to stand up for what is right and true in spite of who knows what people throw at us all of the time. Any of us here probably been on the receiving end of derision and other things. But when when you're connected, it's like, okay, fine. I'm not happy that they're doing it, but it's not going to sway me because we're driven by something deeper.
Yes. And there's a lot of people here that are on a path to help educate and heal. And, it's really interesting to listen to people and to learn.
Yeah. No, it's fun for me too. I get giddy like a school kid. I'm in this environment. I'm like, what am I going to learn today? Or even in the interaction with someone who you think I'm going to teach somebody something, and then in the interaction you inadvertently learn something. I didn't know that was like a super bonus.
Yeah, that's
right?
true. Absolutely.
Yeah. So being in school is not such a bad thing. Of course, no one's grading us here officially, so we get to enjoy it a little bit more, which is great. So anything new today that you learned that you thought was really cool?
Well, I was really, I heard Zach speak twice, and it's the first time I've seen him do that lecture, and I just, I got as much out of it the second time as I did the first time. And, I'm always learning, and I'm always open, and that doesn't mean that, there's, I have to use my own, my personal discernment as to what resonates with me. I'm not advocating anything that I've seen here or anybody's perspectives on alternative solutions. I'm here as an individual, just open to listening and to learning, and I find that really inspiring. And I think it makes me do my job better when I have more information. And when I say information, I don't mean book knowledge. I mean, experience, understanding, compassion. And openness, open heart, open mind. Only an open heart and open mind can learn. And so, yeah.
Well, it makes your beauty even more beautiful. It does.
I don't
honestly.
feel very beautiful here. This was totally unexpected.
No, I know. I do this to everybody, but the reality is, again, what's coming through you, the light that comes through you because of who you are and what you've just said, communicated, the openness from the heart. That's the real beauty. Yeah, I know I don't put up makeup. Well, normally I need to, but no, the whole idea is, at least on this show, again, it's that inner strength, that inner beauty that just shines through, and the vitality, the health shows through, right? All of that because of the way you live and what you do. For those of you who listen in Australia, we got a lot of fans in Australia. How do they find your product if they don't already know about it?
Wellco.com. WELLE.co. No, actually.
Say it again.
WELLECO.com.
Okay, excellent. So look forward to seeing. Are you coming tonight for the big gala?
I am.
All right. Yeah, then you want to see some dress up happen. Oh, my gosh.
I'm going to go very understated.
Oh, well, I remember a couple of years ago when I first quickly met you in that. It was like I was surrounded by just the most incredible dresses, and everybody was just oh, my gosh. So I'm going to see what I can do with the tux tonight. We'll see what happens.
I'm sure you're going to be handsome.
But, hey, thank you for being here.
Lot.
And I hope you enjoyed the lecture. I was able to it was fun to do that, too.
Wonderful.
A little perspective.
It was really, really interesting. Thank you.
Pretty intense stuff, too, because I hit the vaccine component. I don't hold back on that.
Yeah, well, everybody's has everybody has a different opinion on that. I try not to get drawn into it because I think people just need to do their research. And I say the same thing with my own business. It's like, do your research. If you do your research, you'll find what works best for you.
Yeah. Hey, Super Don, I know you're there as producer. Not every day you get to talk to Elle McPherson. I don't know if you have a question or comment for Elle, but I'll give you the opportunity because you're awesome.
Well, just put me on the spot. Why don't you?
Yeah, well, I was put on the spot, too.
Well, she was. You're going to be, right?
No, I know Robert's been talking about wanting to get you on for a long time, so I'm glad that it finally happened.
Well, here I am.
Yeah, once we knew you were in this community, I'm like, oh, another wonderful person that actually gets it and that's not afraid to walk tall and strong with this. It's a posture thing as well. And the influence you'll have. Again, we encourage people to think for themselves. We're not telling people to believe what we believe or I believe, but I try to relate the information and so allow people to, hey, use your higher levels of function, your critical thinking skills, and that seems to be a lost art in so much of the Western world now when it comes to medicine that it's just disappointing when somebody closes their heart and closes their mind to the opportunities and options for healing that are out there. And then, all we're trying to do is put a spotlight on it.
Well, I think that, listen, different strokes for different folks, and there's definitely place for allopathic medicine. And I've seen friends of mine go completely allopathic in their treatment, and I've seen people take a more natural approach, and both have been very had worked very well. So I think it's most important thing in life is choice. People have the choice to make the decisions they want to make for their
I feel that's
one
of the greatest gifts we've been given. That which created us all, the ability to choose. Because in freedom, we can really learn and grow. By force and violence or threat of violence and fear, we're not learning. We're not even doing things by volition, voluntarily. We're, I talk about charity, the will, and there are a lot of docs here, Lee Cowden included, that give of themselves so much, that want to help so much, and they do. And yet, some would argue that's not allowed. You can't do that. You have to ask permission to do that. I'm like, really, healing? I need permission. Well, maybe give myself healing permission, but I'm not asking the government for healing. That's silly. No matter what it is, it's like, wait, we've got to develop that sacred relationship again, doctor-patient, or anybody with that which created us all. So I love that you acknowledge that choice being so vitally important.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, great hour of the Robert Scott Bell Show live from the ACIM event with Dr. Lee Cowden, who was on just prior to Elle, which is amazing. We got you on. This is a big bucket list scenario when we're talking about great people we love to spotlight because their stories are impactful. I know I'm not the celebrity thing is interesting because of the impact, more or less, but I'm more interested in the human story. Why did you do it? Where are you? How do you got there? And you get a little insight into Elle and that beauty that bubbles up from within. That's what I kind of knew that would happen. Even without makeup. Gosh, darn it, she's gorgeous. So we're going to take a break. We should have Dr. Marlene Siegel. We're going to talk about some veterinary care stuff. She's amazing as a holistic vet. We're hoping to have Zach Bush on as well. Casey Craichy is set up to join us. What an amazing time here. And if you haven't joined us yet in person and you're in the Orlando area, we've got a whole other day coming. So don't think you missed out. I'm going to be doing some pre-records for Sunday's show, but in the meantime, if you can be here tomorrow, and tomorrow night we're going to show Vax 2, The People's Truth. By the way, have you seen that film yet?
I have seen bits and pieces of it. I hear it's really good.
Yeah.
I think the guys did a great job. It is the people's story.
Yeah.
And so, again, not advocating, but I do think it's really important that people, check it out.
Yeah, exactly. So, y'all, choice important, and learning what's out there so you know that you have choices that you didn't know you had before. That's part of what we do here on the Robert Scott Bell Show. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Thank you, Elle.
Thank you.
And thank you to all of you. Don't go anywhere. You got a lot more to go. Remember, on the Robert Scott Bell Show, I'm here to remind you, that's it. The power to heal is yours.
The Robert Scott Bell Show. The Robert Scott Bell Show.
Today, we live in an omnipresent cloud of charged particles emitted by electronic devices, electromagnetic fields, WLAN, and radio waves. These particles penetrate our bodies and heat the water in our body tissues. Recent scientific studies have shown that this particle flux not only heats the cells in our bodies as if we were in a microwave oven, but damages them as well. At Key Technologies, we want to protect you from the negative effects of such particles, so we have developed the Key Home Cell and other products. The Key Home Cell creates a protective field that works like a filter, intercepting any dangerous particles before they can enter your body. Here we have a partial look at the inner workings of the Key Home Cell. The key home cell generates a charge exchange between the water tubes, thereby discharging free electrons and releasing them into the room. Within 24 hours, the key home cell creates a torus field. The free electrons formed in the torus use their negative charge to bind to the positively charged harmful particles, thereby rendering them harmless to you. The torus field has an effective range of 16.4 feet above and below, and 24.6 feet around the device. The torus field created by the key home cell is transmitted and provides you with protection through the walls of your home. Not only humans and animals are shielded from harmful radiation, but plants and food too. Whether mobile radio waves or WLAN, any particles that come within the torus field can no longer cause any harm to you or your family. The key home cell provides you with all-around protection, allowing you to communicate with absolute peace of mind when using your cell phone or any other electronic devices. The key home cell's free electrons are transmitted into the water through the torus field and repairing the water structure that was destroyed by radiation particles. Water regains its ideal vibrating hexagonal grid structure. The difference is easy to taste and can be proven with laboratory testing. This type of perfect hexagonal water structure is found in fresh spring and healing water and has also been seen in snowflakes. The same effect happens with our food, which also contains water. The key home cell greatly reduces radiation exposure from cell phones, laptops, WLAN transmitters, mobile terminals, and other sources of radiation. The key home cell drastically reduces the thermal stress on your body tissue. It is very fast and very easy. With the key home cell, you will experience a new quality of well-being within your home and more life energy without any unhealthy exposure to radiation.
The Robert Scott Bell Show.
I listen to get accurate, up-to-date information.
I've learned so much from him. It is awesome. It's the best entertainment that I've found.
You rock the health world. Keep it up. I love you.
Now, the voice of health, freedom, and liberty, here's Robert Scott Bell.
All right, we're back. It is Casey Craichy time on the Robert Scott Bell Show. Living fuel. I've been fueled up. Let me see if I have. Oh, look, it's empty because I drank it. Living fuel is happening here on the Robert Scott Bell Show. And those of you who, how can you forget Casey Craichy, good buddy of mine, and just such a heartfelt, spirit-centered man. I mean, like I said, you're uplifted in his presence. And this program you're looking at, Casey, is what a year ago, when we were hanging out, it was around Christmas time, I think, or in December at your home, and you kept asking me, what do you need? What's going on? What do you need? What do you need? I'm like, dude, you know, we're thinking about doing this. And I told Superdon this story. I was like, Superdon, I'm sitting with Casey, and he's like, well, show me, because I called Superdon. I was like, Superdon, what was it? Because I couldn't remember what it was called. And he said, well, bring it up on the thing. I'm like, okay. You know, it's like, here's a credit card. Go get it. Like, you know, we're doing a full-on kind of video interface TV show because of Casey Craichy and Living Fuel, and it was just such a great gift that was completely unexpected, out of the blue. And
well, you know, you don't have a face for radio.
Well, I needed to be out there visually.
Yeah,
is that what
exactly,
you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Too good looking to be just hiding behind the radio.
Let me make sure. Yeah. All right. That's very funny. So, Super D, that's it. That's why we're doing video. That's why you can see Super Don there. Although, if I put him up on the screen, which I'll do temporarily, but it's going to cover Casey Craichy. He's going to have to deal with it for a moment. Let's see.
He's a pretty good-looking guy too. So.
No, I'm the guy with the face for radio. So.
There he is. See, now he's covering Casey's face. That's what I had to do.
There we go. So, hey, look at your guns.
Look at those guns.
Look at your guns.
That's it.
There you go. How about that?
Well, we got a new trick. That's the coolest thing ever. That is so
There we
cool.
go.
All right. Now we'll go back to the two-shot with Casey and me. And I just wanted you to see it because it's a
That's
whole
hilarious.
television studio, video, picture-in-picture. It's crazy. We have a living fuel commercial we play. It's amazing what we've been able to do. So
That's awesome.
Anyway, thank you again. I just want to acknowledge everybody that Casey is amazing. And Living Fuel, we love that you all would partake and support your own health and your own family's health by eating some Living Fuel every day. And, so what do you think? You are lecturing tomorrow here.
Tomorrow at 8 a.m.
First thing, and I'm going to introduce you.
Awesome.
Are you nervous?
Well, about your introduction, yes.
Well, listen, I'm at the end of my lecture. I'm done, all right? I'm over. And then Casey walks in toward the end. He didn't know I was on. It's like suddenly he said, hey, what are the three most important things you – it's like, oh, really? But it always takes it to the place where I love to go. So it really wasn't a problem.
I was just setting you up.
It was
teeing you up.
It was a blessing, honestly. But it was so fun that, we get to go there because not everybody does overtly to say, you know what, where did medicine go wrong? They abandoned spirit. And, I've talked to so many about this over the years. And Casey, you know it as well as anybody. It's like, where do we get our sustenance, our life? Really, everything else comes from that. And if we ignore it, we do so at our own peril.
Amen.
Yeah.
Everything, all good things come from above.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that message we share, and that's what, I think is the plus factor, and where any healer, if they don't acknowledge that, may not be the right healer for you. As I jokingly talk about your question for, do you hire a doctor? You should. If you want one, you hire them. How do you do it? You got to ask them questions, like an interview. And you should ask your doctor, how often do you have a bowel movement? That's your first question. And if they're offended, move on, because they're not.
Yeah, we were together on the TTAC expert panel just a couple of weeks ago, and we're talking to the people about, hey, wouldn't it be neat if you go to your doctor and say, hey, doc, I have this situation. Could you please just tell me about a few patients that came in with this situation that left without this situation from your office? And the answer is always going to be, well, none. So aren't we like barking up the wrong tree?
Yeah.
It seems.
Yeah, I think. So what are we going to do here tomorrow when you're presenting? And I want everybody in the Orlando area, you didn't know you could come. You can make it to the event tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. That's Saturday morning, the 16th of November, those of you watching and listening live. What's your presentation on tomorrow morning?
Well, you want me to give it now so I don't have to
the whole
tell
thing. Yeah, you don't know. Just an overview.
Well, no, the net of it is that, there are things that are going on in everybody's body, okay, that are causing very significant issues. And if you actually look at every disease state, just about every disease state, there are 4 underlying metabolic processes that are going amok. And they're natural processes. We got inflammation. What that is, the body's given an immune response or healing response. And when that goes chronic, that's chronic inflammation, that everybody will admit is at the root of all disease, right?
Right.
Well, chronic inflammation works also, inflammation causes oxidation. Okay, so oxidation is another area of significant issues where people don't realize that their oxidation status, their antioxidant status is so weak. And a lot of people will go out and they'll buy the wine bottle antioxidant or some kind of thing like that, and say it again?
Keep going. You keep talking.
Okay, so we've got wine bottle antioxidant or something to that effect, where we got one type of antioxidant. So basically there are 6 classes of oxygen species, or reactive oxygen species. And this is hydroxyl, peroxyl, peroxynitrite, superoxide anom, singlet oxygen, and hypochlorite. And most antioxidants only address 1 or 2 of these classes of antioxidants. So it's like you're being in the boat and you've got 6 holes in the boat and only 1 or 2 are plugged, and you don't even know what's going on with the rest of them, but you can be sure that you still got oxidation going on. You have rampant oxidation, which is basically aging. So you got inflammation and oxidation. And then we move to glycation. We talked about inflammation, oxidation, and now glycation. Now, oxidation, I was talking about this. There's 6 classes of oxidants. And Lester Packer, 20 years ago, wrote a book called The Antioxidant Miracle. You're probably familiar with. Still in my library. It's a great book still today.
Yeah.
He talked about there being a network of antioxidants that the body maintains, that life itself depends on that network. And it says vitamin C, vitamin E, glutathione, lipoic acid, and, what's the other one? Come on.
Where are we at?
The 5, anyway.
We'll get you guys on in a moment.
So CoQ10. And so if this wall gets broken, it causes disease and even death.
Right.
So now we know there's other antioxidant classes that actually support that network. I mean, all kinds of polyphenols, and we talked about the 6 classes of very, very different substances to handle each of the 6 classes of oxidants. So that's one other area. And then the other area is angiogenesis. Angio meaning new, genesis meaning vessel. And angiogenesis is basically new vessels being formed, and that's normal. Like in the women's menstrual process, every month the new vessels are formed, and then they go away after the cycle, and then they start again, and that's a natural process. Same thing when growing a baby from a very little baby to a bigger baby. New vessels are being formed all the time for various things. And then when you have an insult, like a sprained ankle, your body will create new vessels, bring new healing substances, stem cells, that sort of thing to heal the area, and then pull it back. And so as you become an adult, you don't have that much use for angiogenesis, with the exception of when you scrape your knee, restructuring that formation with angiogenic vessels, or, like I said, menstrual process, pregnancy, growing a baby, that sort of thing. So it gets bad when you have a situation with high inflammation and high oxidation and high angiogenesis or high glycation. You actually create an environment where angiogenesis can go chronic. And that's when the cancer cells that had been there for many years now get a link to a vessel for getting nourished. And then they grow out of control, and then we have this problem.
So are you saying that there's a way out of this mess?
There is a way out of this mess. And you have to come tomorrow to find out. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, you do. That's why I'm trying. Y'all need to come see Casey. Now, they are going to be taping it, but eventually it'll probably be on it through ACIM or one of the Docs Who Rock websites. But I'd love for you to see it live and experience it and come and try some Living Fuel, because they'll be pouring it all day tomorrow, too, as well. But the pathway out, it's not that complicated.
It's really straightforward. It really is. Now it isn't all just food. I mean, we're human beings, and I've been talking for many years about hydration, nutrition, exercise, stress, sleep, environmental hazards, meditation, prayer. That's our 7 keys. We've been talking about for, a decade and a half or so. But now in this talk, I'm introducing an 8th key, which I'm writing a book now called, interestingly, the 8th key. And it fits very well. And you're hearing a lot about this at this conference, by the way, the details of the 8th key. So I'll go into the details and the new revelations on the 7 keys, and I'll introduce the 8th key. And I'll give some real simple solutions that people can, if you modulate the big 4 that I just talked about, inflammation, oxidation, glycation, angiogenesis, if you modulate those 4, the disease can't progress, because that is the foundation of the progression of the disease.
Beautifully said. So you're going to nail this thing tomorrow. I don't think you're nervous at all, are you?
Oh, about your introduction, I am.
Oh, that you should be, yes. Who knows where I'm going to go. Casey could be in big trouble tomorrow, my brother. No, it's going to be amazing. Now, are we going to see Monica and any of the rest of the family tonight?
Monica and probably the youngers will be here shortly.
Going to be in just like gorgeous dresses, the girls and everything? Yeah.
Of course.
So beautiful. I'm missing my honey. Hi, honey. Love you. We're going to have a good time here. We're going to dress up, and you don't have to worry about that. Just relax at home and chill out and watch the event. Maybe I'll do a Facebook Live or something from it for everybody, but that'll be cool. So any other upcoming events that people should know about with Living Fuel? Any new things happening?
Well, we're releasing something I've talked about and been making in my kitchen for a long time called Microfuel.
Right? Have I tried it when I was at your place?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah? Okay.
Okay, so Microfuel is basically, we have Pet Fuel, which is like Living Fuel Pet.
Yeah.
And then we have, which is basically human-grade super nutrition for pets. Okay, we just released that here recently. And we have a version for humans called Microfuel, or Living Fuel Micro. And basically, I talk about, the human body really has no requirement for protein, 0.
Right.
People go, whoa, what are you
crazy?
Yeah. No, it's not the protein that you require. You require what's in the protein, which is amino acids, essential amino acids, and nitrogen.
Yeah.
And so if you can just deliver the essential amino acids and deliver the fatty acids and deliver, instead of carbohydrates, you deliver fiber.
Yeah.
Okay. You now are in all the micronutrients that are in a living fuel. You then can give a 0-calorie meal to fully fuel a human body with almost no calories.
Wow.
It's pretty extraordinary.
That's amazing. Really amazing. Yeah. All right. Well, we got a lot more to go on the Robert Scott Bell Show here from the ACIM event. We have Zach Bush. Saw Zach Bush. He's amazing. And Marlene Siegel, who I know she's utilizing the Pet Fuel. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Amazing stuff
she's the
there.
One.
Yeah, so I want to say thanks to our friends at also at Synergy Science. Our good buddy Paul Baratero he'll be here at the event tonight. We'll all be dressed up, and it'll be fun to see the family. And in the meantime, I want to say, look into some hydrogen. Purify your water and add some hydrogen to it. And we'll be back. Casey Craichy, I love you, my brother.
God bless you, brother. Thanks.
Yeah,
God bless
you
you
are amazing. Say hi and say thanks to Casey Craichy. Go to livingfuel.com. SuperDon.com.
SuperDon, love the guns, bro.
Have you ever watched a movie with superheroes and villains? If so, you already understand the science of drinking hydrogen-enriched water and how to unlock true health. Allow me to explain. In our bodies, we have a natural struggle between superheroes and villains, with molecular hydrogen being the superhero and oxidative stress the villain. So how does knowing that give you the tools to unlock true health? Your body is naturally designed to fight oxidative stress through specific bacteria in the gut that creates hydrogen on their own. Pretty awesome, right? So why does this matter? Well, in most people, the hydrogen-creating bacteria is gone, and cancer and disease soon follow. So the real question is, why aren't we trying to fix this every day? Well, the answer is simple. It's hard. Even the most healthy of individuals who biohack take months or years to achieve this balance. But how do we get there without taking months or even years? After years of study and development, we discovered and designed the perfect technology that made it all possible. We call this technology Echo H2 Water. Within minutes of drinking hydrogen-rich water from our Echo Hydrogen water machines, you are back in control, balanced, and feeling amazingly hydrated and healthy. Having your own Echo Hydrogen water machine is kinda like having your own team of superheroes on call, always available to fight the villains in your body. Pretty cool, right? But don't just take our word for it. Get your Echo H2 water machine today and quickly bring your body into balance with hydrogen.
Zach, you can slide my way.
All right, here we are back on the Robert Scott Bell Show. Wow, hey, the gang's all here. Dr. Marlene Siegel, my good buddy, is here.
Hi, everybody.
And SuperDon said there's a veterinary question, so I
He
know.
always honors
brings
me
it.
with that, doesn't he?
He's like,
impromptu. I never know the question.
Can you find Dr. Marlene Siegel? I found her. And guess what? We also have Dr. Zach Bush. It's been too darn long. Have I said something to offend you?
You got to keep up with me. Where's Waldo?
Dude, I mean, you slayed it in your presentation. Now, I know you went up to the doctors as well. Zach Bush, you probably know him from the Restore product. And it's been years because it was at the Autism One conference. Some years ago we had you on. And admire you greatly, and he's doing such great work. And I know Marlene, every time I talk to Marlene, he's like, Zach Bush this, Zach Bush that. Enough with Zach Bush. Come on, man. So, no, I'm teasing. But your presentation today went beyond just internal microbiome. As I said, these laws that apply to the internal milieu apply to the external. And how I've always been taught, and my mentor in homeopathy said, nature has all of the answers, all the solutions. And you presented something so profound in terms of the remediation of glyphosate in the body, but also remediating the soils. And that's a big part of your next level mission and projects that I want my audience to know about for sure. In addition, and we'll talk about how it's practical in human and animal health as well.
Absolutely.
So you provided some hope.
Yes.
Because you look at this, it's like, it's a disaster. We're destroying the planet. I'm like, dude, if we're gone, the planet will fix itself. But while we're still here, maybe we can help accelerate that recovery.
That's right, yeah. And the numbers are as terrifying as they are hopeful, really. It's an interesting thing that as we see biology collapse on the planet, we can tie that back to some very simple mechanisms of the collapse. And it ties back to how carbon moves through the planet and through biology itself. And so it turns out that as we move through the biologic systems, carbon can turn into carbohydrates and fats that will turn into fuel for us, or it can turn into biologic processes for the soil and grow, intense new life on Earth.
Stand by, y'all. We have breaking news here on the Robert Scott Bell Show. Thanks to Erin Elizabeth, our good friend. You know her from Health Nut News. I'm going to put this up on screen. Breaking news, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has been arrested while protesting with Jane Fonda. I have no idea what they were protesting. Do you know? Does anybody know? Yeah. What were they protesting?
They're joining student strikes.
Student strikes? Okay. So RFK Jr., as you know, has been a very stalwart defender of choice on the vaccination issue, bringing out what's in a vaccine. So that's going to be a story we're going to have to cover more. If not, maybe in the bonus time today, maybe Erin can join me afterwards if she's not having to get dressed. I'd love to do that. Thank you, Erin. But that's breaking news right here.
Wow.
That's big time news. So we'll figure that out in a little bit. So I'm so sorry, Zach, but
not at all.
We're live radio around the world, and we want to keep up to date with what's going on. So
and we're not arrested here.
We're so far so good. So again, more good news. We need more good news.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's just.
Yeah, so there's so much, dramatic talk now and recognition that the ecology is suffering as fast as human health is collapsing, and there's so much attention on CO2 in the atmosphere. But the interesting reality is the CO2 that's rising in the atmosphere is a symptom rather than the cause in my book, and so. As we see CO2 rise, we know we've killed the lungs of the planet, and the lungs are really the soil as much as it is the trees and other things
the
we
plants
think
that
of
grow
with
on it,
photosynthesis.
which benefit from CO2. They need it in order to produce oxygen. So there's a cycle. And I think it's too simplistic to say CO2 is a toxic poison for all life. It's going to end life. That's absurd. We should be talking about pollution. Yeah. Toxic pollution, glyphosate. I have an article here about nanoparticulates in the air creating problems. Well, duh. What did you think was going to happen? Of course, they say at concentrations that go over this, it's really bad. Like, really? You're just now figuring that out? And I always said if Al Gore had talked about toxic poisons as opposed to talking about temperature shifts, we would have had somebody everybody can agree on. But no, he has to go, that's a whole other area. I try to get beyond and help people see what's really a problem and what's really helpful to correct it.
Yeah, the good news is he's changing too. I just spoke at Al Gore's Climate Underground event a couple weeks ago on his farm in Tennessee, and he's really starting to embrace this reality that the soil is the secret to the solution. And the biologic message for humans and animals behind that is that our soil of the gut is exactly the same as the organic farm or otherwise. If we embrace the carbon cycling within the gut and within our own metabolism, we see the same regenerative potential where energy actually grows, not depletes. And, there's more life, not less, as we live.
And I know that, the key to the Restore product that you developed many years, and I've lectured on that. That's one of the adjuncts. And I've used the silver, the family at Natural Immunogenics,
Sure.
how silver can be a regenerative agent and not a disruptor of gut microbiome biodiversity. That was the key. Biodiversity, as you pointed out, is key. People are taking cow probiotics, 3 strains, and thinking, yep, call it a day. And it actually is making things worse than doing nothing. That was brilliant.
Yeah, the probiotic studies coming out in 2018 were really devastating. It showed that after 2 weeks of antibiotics, we see about an 80% drop in microbial diversity. Put them on a probiotic, it freezes them there at that 80% collapse. And in the mice, it went out to 50 days with no recovery. In the humans, even at 6 months, they hadn't recovered back to baseline. And so in the placebo arm, where they did absolutely nothing, both the mice and the humans had recovered fully by 30 days. So it is one of these $42 billion industries that simply needs to go away. We don't need a replacement for it.
Restoration of the home for the microbiome may be as or more important than replenishing the microbiome, because nature knows how to replenish.
Fermented foods.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what we do. We do
and
a lot
it's
of
not just
fermented
3
foods.
things from a cow.
Nope, and every batch that we make has a different microflora in it, so that you see that regeneration. It's profound.
One of the interesting things about fermentation, when it's done in a wild kind of air ferment, where you're allowing the microbial life of the air itself to populate that fermentation process, rather than most ferments on the market are done through a probiotic where you add a couple strains of bacteria and leave it and call it the day. Through that wild fermentation, it changes seasonally, and that's kind of intriguing that our bodies adapt to the fall, to the winter, to the spring, and back to the summer abundance. And the microbial life that should come with each of those seasons can be programmed into our food and help inform the body of how they should be using nutrients differently in the winter than in the summer and the like.
Absolutely, we see it happening.
Now, not everybody knows your background, that you were actually working on developing new forms of chemo or something, right? It's like
or something.
Holy moly! No, and as I introduced you, my feeling sincerely was that you were doing penance for not only that, but almost every other doctor that goes out into the world that destroys and corrupts nature and conquers it, as opposed to learn from it and abide by it. And even with technological advances, how do we duplicate it as opposed to conquer it?
Sure, yeah. So it was back in about 2009, I came to the realization in my chemo lab that there hasn't been a single case of cancer in human history that was caused by a lack of chemotherapy. So that simple tenet really kind of goes to show that no matter how good we get at drug development, we'll never get at the root cause of the problem. And so that's when I started to really shift my attention towards the nutrition, which shifted my attention towards ultimately the farms we now support. And so we launched a Farmer's Footprint, which is our advocacy and education system that's now working at the consumer level, at the public health level, at the farmer level, to really teach a non-chemical approach to regenerative farming, because we need to really go beyond just outlawing Roundup or glyphosate. We need to literally change the paradigm.
Right, and as we change it within each individual, each animal, right, each human, I think it will have a mirroring impact. But, of course, I don't want to ignore the fact that we've corrupted our soils on the planet. You had some slides that were devastating in terms of glyphosate contamination. Overlay that with cancer manifestation in those areas. We are just disrupting the integrity of those tight junctions, the home for the microbiome, if you will. And so if we recognize how to remediate it in the body, can we apply those same principles out into the big world, into the soil?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we see it, affecting anything that interacts with that biologic system. So Dr. Siegel is, as a holistic integrative vet, is on the front lines of this cancer epidemic, which is accelerated far more in pets than it has even in humans. In humans, we're at 1 in 2 humans now, in males with cancer, about 1 in 2.5 or 1 in 3 females with cancer. But the dogs talk about the cancer explosion.
1 out of 1.65, and that number's increasing.
Really?
Yeah, it's almost 100% of dogs, and we're seeing them in dogs under 2 years of age.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, generations are shorter, so we're seeing it manifest what I think is going to happen in humans too.
Their lifespan has gone down. Despite the fact that we have a pill for every ill and we have a diet for every disease in veterinary medicine, we're seeing life expectancies go down by 7 years.
Significant.
Yeah.
So you have been working with Zach for a few years now, and you've worked the Restore for Pets. Seen some benefit. Anything else? I think the Lumi Pet, you call it?
Well, it's now rebranded to Ion, Ion Pet.
Okay.
And boy, that first year that I was doing the testing with it before we launched it, I was sending him pictures every week. I put that stuff in every orifice you can imagine. I showed him some of the grossest pictures he's ever seen.
Yeah,
and
totally.
oh my
Grossest
gosh.
things I've ever seen.
But
Thanks a
the
lot.
healing has been amazing, absolutely amazing. It's foundational.
So you've got some protocols for other vets to follow now?
Yeah. In fact, right now we're getting ready to launch the Holistic Living Expo, but we're also getting ready to do a whole slew of different programs to teach veterinarians how to integrate alternative medicine into their practices.
Nice.
And of course, Ion is a foundational product.
Beautiful. It's exciting. I'm thrilled. Like I said, I talked to Lee Cowden earlier that we bring all these people. They have different, diverse perspectives on things, different lanes of expertise. And for the most part, I see everybody coming together to learn from one another, teach one another, and it's transformative. Again, your presentation needs to be out everywhere to recognize, because there's a lot of despair in the environmental community.
Yes.
I think people mean well, but they're also easily manipulated to believe things that aren't necessarily true, as we said.
The solutions are at hand. If we could increase the carbon content in the agricultural soils of the world by 0.4%, we could actually suck all the CO2 and methane out of the atmosphere that we've added in these recent decades. So we could reverse this phenomenon of the suffocation of the planet with 0.4%. Now, as we start to work on the carbon cycling in soil, as we have in the human and pets, we're finding that we can 80-fold increase that carbon content. So the speed at which we can get that carbon cycling out of the atmosphere into our soils, I think, we could really see a reversal in the next decade of things that we thought were impossible in the next 1,000 years. So we just have underestimated the power and capacity of the soil to be a part of that solution.
Of the natural world to heal itself. I always talk about the power to heal is yours. I don't mean like it's an ego thing. It's like coming from Creator. Right? We've been granted that, and we kind of deny it when we believe so-called experts, whether they be in government, medicine, that say, oh, no, it's not. It's going to be, another toxic poison, another form of chemo, another antibiotic, another glyphosate. And, our participation in that is also participating in our own demise. So what are we going to do to remedy it? Now, this big project you've got going out to remediate soils, this is a whole other level thing. Is there a website separate to Zach Bush, MD, that people should know about for this?
That one's in large-scale work right now in the large ag. It'll go to the public in about mid-2020, and we'll be rolling that out, so you can stay abreast there at the Zach Bush MD website.
Right. So as far as a message to folks, again, that positive, uplifting, hopeful message, not based on we just hope, we don't know, but we actually know.
Yeah, we know that solutions are at hand. We know that Mother Nature's got a solution to every toxin we make. We've got Pseudomonas in the environment, which is a bacteria that can consume the uranium isotopes that we're leaking out there
really
and
cool.
everything else.
Yeah, I've heard rumor of that over the years. They found bacteria that was consuming these radioactive materials.
Yeah.
And decaying it down to a point where you can remediate an area that couldn't be inhabited even.
Yeah.
How does that? Nature, God, creation, Creator. Wow, we're not that smart unless we listen.
Well, I think that's part of what we're here for is we have to get enough uncomfortable. It has to get a little bit more hot in the pot before we'll start taking actions to dig down deep inside and see what we need to do differently, how we can actually think differently, how we can be more conscious of how we're living. And that's a big part of it right now. I know when I listen to you, when I listen to Dr. Bush talking, for a while you can be a victim in that. You can be really depressed, and then all of a sudden you go, no, wait a minute. I have the power to make changes. I have the power to influence others to make changes once we become aware. So for anybody listening, I think really that's the take-home message is, we're in a big pot of hot water, and we need to do something. Don't keep turning the fire on and stay in there. You need to get out of that pot, and you need to start making some lifestyle changes that are going to make an impact in the world, and every single person has the ability to make that impact simply by changing some of the things you do.
Yeah, beautifully said. Now, over the years, as a homeopath, people come to me often as a last resort. They've been to medical doctors. I've been to everybody. And I say, you know what? It isn't the miracle of a homeopathic remedy even. It's about a miracle of your consciousness shift, that you're willing to change something in your life, in your health, in your diet, what you do every day. And to your point, and Zach, I'm sure you've seen it, Dr. Bush, people that come to you and you say, well, you need to eat cleaner food. And they go, I don't know if I can do that. You're like, can you just give me a pill? Just give me a probiotic? Does that still happen occasionally?
Yeah, I mean, I think subconsciously that's still where we're all at in some ways. You know, we're really hoping for a magic bullet to take us out of there. But, I think that, we're going to have to get to the point where we start to acknowledge that it's not just, a focus on carbohydrates and proteins and what should we eat in this direction or that. We really need to come to terms with the fact that we've got to get out to the point where we recognize that food was really created not for physical content, but for a spiritual moment. If we don't start sharing meals together again and recognizing that food is a native for human-human spiritual interaction, we're going to miss the boat. I really believe that the food is pointing to all these blue zones where we jump around the world studying people that will live over 100 years of age. We realize that, in fact, it's not until they share that meal with somebody else that it starts to have that life-giving, longevity effect. And so community is the ultimate result of food.
Well, and choosing carefully, choosing wisely those who are uplifting to you, who are supportive of you, who bring healing into your life, those that denigrate and detract. And I don't think we're under an obligation to subject ourselves to that kind of dis-ease creation, alteration. Now, I would expect that those people, when they're ready, and I say this a lot, it's not that we're unwilling to help anybody that wants help, but the key is, do they want it? Are they choosing to be helped? Because if we force what we've discovered on them, then we're violating their freedom to choose, even poor choices, right? And to your point again, until we suffer enough, many times we are not making those choices. How miserable did I have to be with my health growing up in an American medical family to make a choice to eat organically? And this is back, how many years ago? How many years ago this happened? That people said, oh, that'll never last. That's a fad, Robert. I'm like, 25 years later, I'm still eating organic, clean food. I've gotten more diverse in it. But, this wasn't about, I got to do something for a moment and then go back to the way I was before. The way I was before was caused by what I did or didn't do.
Yeah.
But that means the power to heal was mine. The choices I made, even if they were made in ignorance, like my parents made choices for me. You don't know. I'm not mad at them. It actually helped me to learn what I learned indelibly through suffering.
Absolutely.
So suffering is not wasted if you one day wake up and change consciousness because of it.
And use it for the highest and best good.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Well, Dr. Zach Bush, it's great to see you again and have you on the show. And any other messages you want for the audience here as we're wrapping up?
Get outside. You got to get back into nature if you're going to find that solution.
Pull weeds. How many bacteria do you get when you pull weeds? How much microbiome?
It's in the 10 to the 11th kind of thing. So many zeros on the end of that. It's more than a Costa Rican jungle. So pull some weeds, get in the soil, get your dirt out there, and you got it.
I do miss that because, we grew year-round in Florida, and we left, and now it's seasonal. And I'm like, I'm used to growing year-round still, right? And I love getting in there and pulling weeds. It was just so therapeutic. We talk about what's good medicine. Getting out in the gardens. You have a garden, right?
A whole yard.
Your yard is the garden, and that's a dream I have, although it's a different environment now I'm in as far as where I am. And I always ask people, how many of you in the audience are growing a garden? Something, even if it's just one thing. And I think that's the next level of disruption to what's gone wrong is to get people Well, I don't think kids should be able to graduate school until they know how to grow a garden, which is not hard. But make that part of the curriculum. It'd be as important as anything else they would learn, maybe more so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you want to teach your kids how to grow a garden, show up at our Holistic Living Expo, which is going to start in March. I'll have a date for you very shortly. We'll be back on the show and talk more about it. Dr. Bush will either be there physically or remotely, but we're going to have a just unbelievable lineup of people to teach us how to do conscientious, sustainable food care, growing food, just taking care of the planet.
Yeah.
So the whole first conference is all about that. The second one is going to be all about how to cook all that food that you just grew. But we'll tell you more later. Let's start with number one.
Beautiful. We got some questions of the day coming up next on the Robert Scott Bell Show live from the ACIM event, acimconnect.com. And thanks to Dr. Lee Cowden for us being here. Also, Kelly Gallagher and her Get Your Life Back Now event. We have the Doctors Who Rock event tonight. But tomorrow, if you're listening and watching live, please join us on the Robert Scott Bell Show. We do have, again, questions and comments of the day coming up next. Don't go anywhere. Dr. Zach Bush is here. Dr. Marlene Siegel is here.
We got a pet question coming.
It's an awesome day. Yeah, and we have a pet question as well. So stand by. Say thanks to our friends at Trinity School of Natural Health, helping even doctors to learn nutrition that they didn't learn in medical school. We'll be right back. Okay, out of the mix.
Trinity's Certified Natural Health Professional Program serves as the foundation to our more advanced CHHP or Certified Holistic Health Practitioner program. This course will teach you how to apply naturopathic fundamentals to pursue a healthy body, mind, and spirit. From wholesome cooking to shopping to the human body systems, this program prepares you to care for yourself, your family, and your community. In this course, you will learn human anatomy and physiology, as well as the requirements of each body system, the need for proper nutrition and elimination of waste, how to incorporate natural health principles in your own home with tips for shopping, cooking, cleaning, pet care, and first aid, how to conduct client consultations and assessments, and make safe legal recommendations. One of the greatest things about this certification is it's designed for you to put your knowledge into practice right after you complete the course. In a world full of toxins, it's essential to learn how to keep yourself and others healthy. Trinity's CNHP program is the perfect choice for you. If you have any questions or feel this is the program for you, please send us an email or give us a call and get started on your path to transform the world.
All right, back at it here at the, where are we?
We are in Orlando at the ACIM conference, and we're downstairs with the conference for the public.
Okay. Very cool. Now, let me see if I can do something here while we're live on the air. I want to bring Superdon in the mix because we have questions coming from our Patreon supporters. So I'm going to bring this shot up. There's Superdon covering Marlene Siegel's face. And what I'm going to do here is shrink Superdon down so that Marlene and Superdon are in the same picture. And, yes, we're good. We're good to go. All right, so all three of us are on the show together, Superdon. So we have questions of the day coming up. And I know there was one from last hour I didn't get to. We'll do that as well. Now, in addition, now the one you've just sent me, is that a new one, or is that the one you were wanting Marlene to respond to?
That is a question that came in a couple days ago from our Patreon page, which if we set this up, I don't know, how long has it been now? A couple months?
Yeah.
And we've got people that can go over to Patreon to support the show, and they get a bunch of cool perks and stuff. And we've had some questions come in on there as well. So
Excellent.
I wanted to honor this patron with their question. It happens to be a pet question.
Oh, perfect.
Impromptu.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is coming from Tommy Wells, and Tommy says, my daughter adopted a dog from a shelter, and 3 weeks later it started having seizures. He says, I am sure it was probably caught up on multiple vaccines simultaneously at the shelter. Any suggestions? Now, Tommy says he's going to get some CBD for the dog, but wants to know if there's anything else that he could try.
Absolutely. So I always come back to the basics. What are they feeding the dog? Making sure it's a species-appropriate diet. If they want to learn about that, they can go to a website called evoloveRaw.com.
Evo, E-V-O, love.
Yeah, EVO, Raw.com. And they can learn all about what a raw diet is and why it's important and about different supplements. So foundational, number one, they got to make sure that they're getting the right diet, that they're getting right vitamins, minerals, and fatty acids. And then look at what toxins this dog may be exposed to. and make sure that the water's clean, that the house is not using, they're not using a lot of chemicals to clean the house. They're not using tap water to give water to the dog. These are really foundational things. More than likely, this dog's been on processed food, so we want to put him on Ion, which is the Restore lookalike product from Dr. Zach Bush that was just here, and make sure we repair that gut. And then back up and see what you got. We may have to do detoxification of organs of elimination. There's 6 organs. There's the liver, the lungs, the kidneys, the colon, the skin, and the lymphatics. And I find that when we treat the lymphatics and the liver, most problems, maybe not all, will go away. Now, this dog may have been born with idiopathic seizures. So for all we know, there may be an underlying condition that we can't treat. But irregardless, we still need to fix the body. And so that's foundational. And then step back and see, do the seizures still occur? And if so, then go to a veterinarian, make sure blood work is done, make sure that there isn't a liver shunt, that there isn't other metabolic diseases that need to be addressed. Irregardless, you still have to have that foundation.
Beautiful. All right. Well, Tommy, man, appreciate you being a direct supporter of the Robert Scott Bell Show, and how awesome that we delivered Dr. Marlene Siegel to you. And if you happen to be in the Tampa Bay area, PascoVet.com, the website to find it, in addition to the EvoLoveRaw.com for the pet food that you can bring into your home and prepare and make a difference. Because as you mentioned earlier when Dr. Zach Bush was here, cancer on the increase, significant in these pets, the lifespan shortening. The food has everything to do with it, just as it does for all of us.
Food and environment, absolutely.
So this is so significant. Now, we have another question of the day. I'm going to preface it with the actual theme for the question of the day.
Excuse me. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
All right, that is the question of the day, and here it is. You can see it on the screen, those of you watching live through naturalnewsradio.com, robertscottbell.com, or any of the video outlets, brighteon.com. It says, hi, quick question. My naturopath says I have high levels of radiation. I've heard you talk about the EMF home protectors. In your opinion, is Key Technologies a reputable resource to help me and my family protect our home? I'm looking for a whole home protection. What do you recommend? Thanks for your help, Kathy. All right, Kathy, I appreciate you asking that question. We are definitely going to answer it. Now, as far as this Key home technology, now this is a Key Shield, and I think you have some of these in the office.
I have this one that I travel with,
right?
And then I have the
home
unit.
cell. Yeah,
I have one in the office and one
right.
at home.
Exactly, and that's what so we both do that. Now, why? Because we know that we can't control for every level of electromagnetic frequency disruption in our environment. Whether it's cell towers outside, whether it's the Wi-Fi that we still have inside, or if they start setting up even the more invasive 5G, which will be like every 100 yards, it's going to be crazy if that happens where you are. What this does, and I want to explain this to you as clearly as I can, and you can go on, we have you'll see that the in the break at the top of the hour, we have a visual of it. Creates a torus field, a stable regenerating torus field of electrons in every direction, like a big donut around. This is 200 square feet. The unit I have is like 3,000 square feet, which covers that. And Casey Craichy and Ty Bollinger have like the 50,000 square foot, right, coverage. And so by saturating our field with these electrons, these negative ions, we will be coated in them, in addition to the benefit of those that are absorbed down to the mitochondria, benefited energetically. But the key here is all of those waves that would normally enter us are now interacting with the electrons on us, so that it can't go in us, and that's where the damage occurs. That's where DNA damage occurs, inflammation of cells occurs. So absolutely, this is what I would utilize. I have no problem saying it. But from a nutrient, mineral perspective, the key mineral that when we talk about Hiroshima, Nagasaki, other environmental exposures to ionizing radiation, selenium is the number one. I'm not saying it's the only thing, but the number one mineral when we talk about the diets of those in Japan. They had higher levels of daily intake of selenium. 400, 600, 800 micrograms. Most Americans, if they're getting 100 micrograms of selenium a day, it's news. So that's a significant shift. There are homeopathic remedies that can respond after the fact. They don't protect you from the radiation. This would protect you from it because it stops it from entering you. But in terms of more remediation, maybe you have some insight as well that you want to add to it.
There's a product, I don't know if they're going to repurpose their product or not, but it was also a hologram, and they had imprinted energies. And I worked with that company for years, and it was marvelous because it had EMF protection, it did pain, it did a lot of different things. And so I loved it. And they are not, I think they're going to be like looking at rebranding themselves.
Okay,
I hope they do something
Right.
because it was a phenomenal technology.
Okay. Also, Babry, who is originally from Ukraine, Russia, he's here, and I've met him a few times, and I'm going to bring to you this thing called Folium PX. This is also including an ingredient, a food-based ingredient, that was also remediating the radiation exposure from Chernobyl. Big time. So people on this product are taking pre- and post-test in terms of analysis of heavy metals and radiation and seeing tremendous results, measurable results. And so remediating radioactive materials and heavy metals, we're going to have another option for you here that I've been studying about this for a long time as well.
And don't forget that just doing good detox principles is important because our bodies have this resilience. That the immune system is there for a reason.
Yes.
So if you're not making it worse by eating a lot of processed foods and a lot of sugar and a lot of bad oils, and you're doing things that are specifically detoxing liver and lymphatics are the two most important.
Yeah.
But if you're doing that on a conscious basis and really keeping up with that, you're going to just have so much easier of a time being able to detox a lot of these chemicals.
Right. So let's go through the news cycle here with Dr. Marlene Siegel. And Super Don, you can chime in because I want to ask you now briefly, if you don't mind, I'll pull you back on screen here. This has been a whirlwind of a lot of guests from David Kennedy on forward. And so I haven't covered all the stories I want to cover, Super D. So there's some critical ones, if you don't mind. I have them all up, so you throw them out, the most interesting ones that if we didn't cover them, you'd be really mad at me, and I don't want Super Don mad at me.
Wow, I wasn't prepared for this. So
I'm sorry. You did. You prepared.
Let's see here. Let me take a look at what we got here. Well, in Germany, we focus a lot on what's going on here in the United States when it comes to the big, mess that's going on with vaccine mandates. And I've noticed that quite a few times you have wanted to make comparisons to what they're doing here to what they did in Nazi Germany.
Yes.
Well, unfortunately, in Germany, they've decided to make measles vaccines, what they say, compulsory, or basically forced.
Yeah.
For children I think it's for preschool and for regular school.
Right.
And so that is something that has been passed. So that was something that was first on my radar this morning.
Yeah, I'm looking at that on screen right now. German parents who don't vaccinate their children against measles will face fines of thousands of euros under a law passed Thursday, according to the New York Times. Set to take place March 2020. All children seeking to attend preschool must provide proof of it's not immunization. Vaccination is not immunization, you doofuses. As well as children 6 and older who are legally required to attend school. And in Germany, it's mandatory school. You don't get to homeschool in Germany. It is a kind of a Nazi-like police state when it comes to education in Germany. I'm very concerned for our German friends, our listeners and those. And I would say at this point, get out. Just like I say to our friends in California, get out until it's remediated. You do not want to subject your children to this form of tyranny. They don't need to be, not the least of which is the deleterious impact of injecting these untested against inert placebo products. You're a doctor, Dr. Marlene Siegel. How would you like it, if somebody sold you a drug and you found out that it wasn't tested against inert placebo? And you say, you give this to all your patients and you don't let them out of it. It's like, wait a second, isn't that the baseline?
I think people really need to come together. I mean, really, the pot's getting hotter and hotter. And if we don't come together as a society, if we don't start objecting as a collective group, it's not going to change.
Right. Yeah. Oh, you're right. All right, Super D, we covered a bit of that. Give us another story to cover.
Well, this one was just kind of made my head explode. And this is coming from, we haven't found a story from Fierce Farmer in a while.
Okay.
This has to do with an FDA approval that just took place for a drug, an antibiotic drug. And I had to read this because when you look at the headline, it says this drug was approved, but with a spooky mortality warning label. And so I was like, okay, I got to read this. What's up with this? So it turns out this drug has been approved, and it's for patients with complicated urinary tract infections. So I'm sitting there thinking it's a UTI, okay, a complicated UTI, let's say, all right? So I know that we've talked on this show before that UTIs, you know how to deal with a UTI.
Yeah, well, we've got a lot of ways, and not the least of which, if you have the ability to catheterize silver into the bladder, it's going to knock it out almost instantaneously. But there are so many homeopathic remedies that address UTIs. We know that liver congestion results in problems with the kidneys.
Ozone.
Ozone
and silver right into the bladder. Actually, we do ozone, silver, and ion right into the bladder.
All right. Well, let's see. Now, if we compared those to this new drug that the FDA approved with a spooky mortality label,
right?
I think at first you're already going to say, let me see what you got, Robert. Right?
Right.
But
I think
this.
What?
It literally 24.8% of trial patients versus I think it was like 18. But yeah, it comes with a label saying, you know what, this drug has been shown that it can help treat your UTI, but it might kill you.
Wow.
That's like the 6 o'clock news. I'm sorry.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Every drug that's advertised on the 6 o'clock news does the same thing.
But how different is it? Think about this. How many teenagers have been prescribed Accutane for acne? A toxic antibiotic that will kill your liver, which could kill you just for acne. And of course, we know acne is a reflection of the poor imbalance in the microbiome in the gut, and of course other dietary things and healing the liver, all the things that we do, all the things that you do.
We had a kitty a couple months ago that was 2 years old, was itching, not excessively,
some kind,
just itching.
Yeah,
but didn't even have hair loss, and their veterinarian gave it a dexamethasone injection, a
what?
steroid injection. Put it into heart failure.
Yeah.
We went into heart failure.
Yes.
2 days later.
Wow.
And the drugs weren't getting the cat better. He came in. We started doing our protocols, and he got 50% better. But really, a steroid injection on a 2-year-old cat.
Really?
They didn't change his diet. They left him on processed foods. We got him on a raw diet, and he's healing.
It's a mess, y'all, but not if you seek out Dr. Marlene Siegel, PascoVet.com.
Don't do the steroids.
No, please. Super Don, what else we got? That was good. We covered some really good stories here. Very important things.
Let's see here. How about... actually, I like this. This is kind of maybe can get to kind of a deep conversation here. There was a question that was posed, and I think this came from Forbes. Let me make sure here.
Okay.
Yes, it was a Forbes story. And it poses the question, should medical schools test applicants for empathy?
Whoa, that's interesting. Should medical schools test applicants for empathy? Now, my buddy Dr. Mark Chait was on before the show. He was talking to me, and he said, they actually do some kind of empathy training now after the fact. So they don't test them going in, but apparently they're now realizing, oh my gosh, we're not very empathetic. We need to work on that.
Well, I hope they're not using it as a screening device and getting rid of empathetic people.
Well, get this. Here's what happened was they discovered that the American Association of Colleges of Osteopathic Medicine has this reputation of more patient satisfaction due to the fact that the doctors are more empathetic and seem to care about their patients.
A little empathy can go a long way.
Oh yeah.
Right. So what they decided to do is do this project, this test, this study, and base it on the model of the Osteopathic Medicine Association to see how they can incorporate this and possibly use it for the allopathic doctors, because I know it's shocking. The whole concept of the fact that if your doctor acts like he gives a crap about you, that you're going to be more satisfied probably with your doctor, right?
Well,
they seem to be just figuring this out now.
Yes.
But the problem is, Robert, as I was thinking about this, is I'm thinking, we've always covered stories in the past about, doctors and how they're stressed out and they're burnt out and, they're having, all these problems and stuff like that. The workload that they put on these doctors is insane. They literally walk in, they've got 3 minutes with you to figure out what's wrong with you and diagnose it and prescribe a drug, and then they're out the door, right? So I think that plays a big part in the problem that we're seeing is that people don't have a connection to their doctor. The doctor, doesn't have a connection to the patient. And the doctor is almost forced into a situation where it's like, okay, listen, take this drug because I heard this works for what you're talking about. Hope you do okay.
And not only that, but they're under this microscope to not do something that's going to bring the board down on them as well. So when you put it all together, it really can't have a lot of satisfaction. At least in the veterinary industry, we still have our empathy, we still have our compassion, and we still have some latitude to be able to do things that are right because they're right.
Beautiful. By the way, my wife just sent a text to me talking about Marlene Siegel. She says, a rose between two thorns.
Aww.
I don't know if she was meaning you, Super Don, or Zach Bush, but I know she meant me.
Well, we're the bookend, so I think it's clear. Yeah.
At this point, yes, we're the thorns, and we got the rose, the beautiful rose. That's cute. So let's see, what else do we have? We just have oh, man, we're up on the end of the show. We're going to go into bonus territory. Was there any, listen, I'm going to just say go to robertscottbell.com. I'm going to bring it up right now just so you can see all the things in the show notes today, that most of which we got to cover. And right here, we opened with Dr. David Kennedy, as you know, from the Doctors Who Rock event. We had Casey Craichy, Zach Bush, obviously Dr. Marlene Siegel. We weren't sure who we were going to get on all day today, so we'll add everybody into the mix. And Elle McPherson. And just what an amazing show. What an amazing show, y'all. You should be here. And I hope that you'll try to get here tomorrow, because there's a lot going on in Orlando this weekend. And, of course, we are going to be showing Vax 2, The People's Truth, tomorrow evening, 7:30 p.m. in the Legends 2 room of the Florida Hotel and Conference Center. So if you haven't seen that, it's a great opportunity. It'll be a donation event, so there's no fixed fee associated with it. It's just what can you support as we go here. And we got a lot more healing to go, but we're out of time officially. Those of you who want to stick around, we'll get into some bonus territory on the Robert Scott Bell Show next. Go to robertscottbell.com. Remember, PascoVet.com and EvoLoveRaw.com. I remembered it. I did. I remembered it. So with that, take a moment, take a breather, get down here in Orlando, dress up nice, or even if you don't, come on down. The power to heal is yours.
The Robert Scott Bell Show. Robert Scott Bell Show.
Check out a sweet offer that my friends at Better Way Health give. This is an immune boosting supplement that you can't get anywhere else.
Beta-glucan activates and enhances your immune response to invaders.
These things are brilliant for modulating the immune system.
Someone has a need for help in supporting their immune system, I'm looking at the glucan product.
It's amazing, and there's been an enormous amount of research done on this.
It's the most studied immunomodulator on Earth, with over 14,000 published studies referencing beta-glucan, and it's currently being tested in roughly 100 clinical trials.
If you like your dietary supplements with validated science, there's nothing that has more behind it than the beta-1 3D glucan from Better Way Health.
Probably the most heavily researched substances that I'm aware of that modulates the immune system.
It rebuilds your immune system.
Consistency and quality are everything.
Here, you want to see my supplement drawer? Here it is. Get ready.
I was putting together my research and I tripped on this supplement called beta-glucan.
There it is. It's very small. I take beta-glucans, immune booster.
You don't have to worry that you're overstimulating the immune system. We have been just amazed.
I take like 2 a day from Better Way Health.
It's been tested against about 36 other immune-boosting products and found to be superior.
If you have an immune system or you want one, beta-1 3D glucan, that transfer point is very unique. It's going to get the results that you're looking for. I support it and I use it.
Better Way Health, I got to tell you, you can spend more time, you can spend more money, but you cannot get better service than you're going to get from those guys down there. They are truly 24 karat.
The brand you want to get is called Transfer Point Beta-1 3D Glucan, and you can get it from BetterWayHealth.com. Let's spread the message about beta-glucans. It's a powerful substance from nature that can help you.
All right, bonus time on the Robert Scott Bell Show. We are still happening live from the Get Your Life Back Now event. And Super Don, you still there? Let me see if I can bring you back into the mix here. I can actually make you large again. Here you are again, not on your own.
You don't need to make that bigger. It's fine.
I do. Look at that. I'm going to cover my face. Watch this. Watch this. This is fun. Where'd Robert go? Wait, can I do that thing that Casey did? Look, you're here.
Hold on. Let's see if I can. What do I have to do?
There, almost there. How cool is that? It's Super Don Show. All right. Enough silliness. Let me move this over and take that there. And anyway, so tell me what's been going on out there in the, world. Those that are watching on YouTube or Facebook Live or anything like that. What's happening?
Yeah, there was some interesting. I mean, people were kind of surprised about the Bobby Kennedy thing. We'll have to get an update on that.
Yeah, it wasn't related to vaccines apparently. So
and apparently I got a message from somebody saying that he had posted. I haven't looked at. He posted a picture. Bobby Kennedy did on Twitter. Apparently of what happened there. But what I've read is that in these situations, this is a protest that's been going on a regular basis. It's been spearheaded by Jane Fonda, called Friday Fire Drill or something like that.
Okay.
And typically, people are just cited and released. It's not a thing where
right.
He's been thrown in jail or anything.
Right.
So I don't think we need to get too concerned about it.
Sure.
It's more of a symbolic thing.
So yeah, and if Hanoi Jane is doing her thing, and I know that's mean, but there's a lot of awkward stuff back in the Vietnam era when we were just little kids. But looking back, I'm like, dude, the people that protesting, if you're protesting in favor of communism, I'm not so supportive. I mean, you want to protest, that's fine, but the reality is it was a police state intervention, had nothing to do with de jure United States, in other words, congressional act of declaration of war. It was a police state activity, UN police action. And that's why it was, what would you say, valid to protest it? Not that I'm trying to say what's valid to protest or not, but the controversy about Jane Fonda, of course, that she appeared with the enemy at that time while our boys were out there getting shot and killed. Not that we should have been there, but anyway, awkward. So what do we do? I don't know what they were protesting anyway.
Okay, so anyway, the people have been talking about that. It was great having Marlene on.
Perfect.
I've said before, it would be awesome if we could get Marlene on a somewhat regular basis, because there's always pet health stuff going on in the news, and it's like I don't really bring it up because it's not really our space. I mean, we can on some occasions, but it would be great because I think there's a lot of interest out there as far as pet health goes.
Yeah,
from a holistic standpoint. So anyway, it was great having her on again. I think that's it. It was very cool that we could answer the question for our Patreon members. And anybody that's not that Patreon questions are going to be answered more than ordinary questions, but it's another place that you can submit questions. And we can get
that's really cool. And we're working on Patreon specific videos as well, bonus material just for our patrons.
We haven't talked
officially.
We actually did a test, or I did a test the other day. You and I still need to do a test, but it looks
unofficial.
Like we've got a way to be able. We've got a way to be able to stream live on Patreon. So another opportunity here for us to throw another perk in there for our Patreon members.
Yeah.
We'll be looking into that.
And Sunday night, typically, you add the next episode of the Vaccines, Armed, and Dangerous seminar with John Rappaport.
Episode 7 will be coming out Sunday night.
That's amazing. That's very cool. Very, very cool. So as far as pre-records, I've got a limited time slot available in the morning while I'm emceeing. So it's going to be a creative challenge. But if I can at least put an hour together for Sunday's show, you can take some best of from this week. We got some things you can put together. In case I can't do more?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You know what? I always wanted to put on 2 more hours for Sunday, but the way now we're pre-recorded and with the schedule of travel, it's been kind of crazy. So I will at least get the first hour done.
Things will calm down next week?
I think, this is perhaps the last trip of the year, maybe. We'll see what happens. But
all right.
Been kind of a wild pace.
Morley Robbins coming on next week, and so
Morley,
I
I had somebody come on and say, You should get Morley together with David Kennedy about that whole iron thing. I think that was you.
That was
even.
my idea.
Yeah, your idea.
I was just like, I heard David Kennedy talking about iron and stuff. I was like, oh, I know somebody he'd probably like to talk to.
And there was another a woman that came up to me and said, I really like Morley Robbins, but I really like him better when he's on your show.
Oh.
I don't know what that means. So, but he's fun. We've had a good time with Morley. He's a good guy. Did I miss anybody? We had Casey Craichy, Zach Bush, Marlene Siegel,
Elle McPherson,
David Kennedy, Elle McPherson. Did we have it? Oh, we had, of course, how can I forget? We also had Lee Cowden, the man that put this on, Dr. Lee Cowden. Let me just make a note of that. Cowden, not cowbell, Cowden.
More Cowden.
And Elle McPherson. So, cool show. Did y'all enjoy it? Everybody enjoy it? Any other questions or comments coming in through YouTube, Facebook, or anything like that? Please share the Brighteon links, y'all. We'll need to share the Brighteon links later.
Ravenator in the YouTube chat room says that Marlene is hot.
She's gonna love that.
You have to let her know that.
I think she's single, Ravenator.
Oh, there you go.
So come on, show up tonight. We're all gonna be dressed up to the nines, man.
Yes.
So,
all right.
Hey Lily, do you want to come on for a moment? Sure. Okay, we're gonna get a friend from radio to join me real quick here. Hoping this is the right one. Let me just turn this on. No, it's that one. We're broadcasting unofficially, but it's going out through YouTube and Facebook Live and stuff. So if you don't mind, I don't want to mess up your hair. And Phil, what floor?
Take me out of there.
What do you mean take you out of there? Okay, we're going to make Super Don disappear in just a moment.
Oh, look at Super Don.
The show just got
super
so
fly.
much prettier. It's ridiculous.
Aw, thank you.
Now, your husband is here, right?
Who's asking?
Hi, honey. This is Lily and Lily. You know our friend here from Florida. She has a radio show. She does great work, and we've had her on, and I've been on her show. And
yes.
Yeah, actually, it's funny because I was pointing out I met her husband today, who's asking. What a nice guy, really, after all this time, and what a cool guy.
25 years.
25 years.
25 years.
And but you're broadcasting how often here in Florida now?
3 days a week. We're
Okay.
broadcasting live on the Lillian McDermott radio show.
Yep.
So we are live on Facebook at Lillian's radio show. So Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. But if there's somebody that we need to accommodate their schedule, we just send out a memo and let people know that we're on. So if they want to know what's going on, they can subscribe at whenyouneedafriend.com and learn how to live a responsible life, take ownership of life. And as you know, it's spirit, mind, and body. One size does not fit all, and we talk a little bit about everything, not politics or sports.
No, I know. I'm restricted when I come on her show. It's like, nope, you can't do that, Robert. Nope, you can't do that either, Robert. So the guys, Super Don and me, have to talk sports together, right?
Yeah.
No, but you do a lot of. It's uplifting. It's inspiring.
Thank you, thank you.
And whenyouneedafriend.com. Not sure when you don't need a friend.com. That's probably wouldn't be a good one.
No, that was kind of like made it to the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. Whenyouneedafriend.com. And she is a good friend. She's a sweetheart. And like I said, very passionate and compassionate about these topics. And you can see the sincerity oozing from her pores.
That's
so
sweet.
it's
Thank
a good
you
thing.
so much.
So any other message for the audience? Like I said, this is the bonus time on the show today.
But I'm your bonus?
You're my bonus.
Oh, my God.
How cool is that?
Well, I really do believe that our bodies are constantly speaking to us. And I love the fact that we have outside-the-box thinkers.
Like Casey Craichy?
That's right. I'm looking forward to meeting everybody tonight. I'm going to be in the purple carpet.
Oh,
There's no red carpet today.
Purple. I like
it looks
purple
like the
carpet.
purple. Well, purple is the color of transformation. And
Yeah.
I think that's what we're doing here. We're all transforming together.
Royalty,
It is a color
right?
of royalty.
Right.
That's right. And so what I would love for your audience is, everybody who watches you and follows you knows that they're learning a new truth. They're learning the other side. What we think is real in our head is probably 20% fact, but it's not. It's
usually
an
garbage
illusion.
coming from other people that are programming us to be enslave us,
right.
diminish us, and that's not. We want to uplift you and remind you of who you really are.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so in my show, I always say, these are my truths, right? And so I've researched it, I've studied it, I've looked at the white papers and the publications, but just because I said it and just because my guests, the teachers that are in the classroom have said it, that doesn't mean that they need to repeat it.
Mm-hmm.
I encourage our followers to do their own research as well and make
get
it
to
their
decide.
own truth. That's
Yeah,
right.
beautifully
Informed
said.
choice. That's right. So
LillianMcDermott.com. Can you get there that way too?
yes, LillianMcDermott.com.
Yeah.
Yes, but who knows how to spell Lillian
Yeah,
McDermott?
that's true. That's
when
why.
you need a friend.com.
That's good.
That's
good,
right.
good job. Well done.
Thank
you thought it
you.
well.
Thank you.
So where is your husband?
He knew I was going to be with you. And
Oh, see how that happens? Super Don. All right. No, we love you dearly. Appreciate you,
Thank
all
you.
your work.
Thank
Again,
you.
in media, there are not a lot of people that have sincerity and heart, right? Because media is rough and tumble, and it's like so that somebody is there consistently and succeeding. You got to support them because Big Pharma's not supporting this.
That's
you
right.
know that, right?
That's right.
So when folks like Lily come out and do their thing, you got to say, hey, thank you. Yeah, yeah.
No, thank
really
you
mean it.
for having
Yeah.
me on. I know I've been threatening that I was going to walk behind
But
you.
she
the
did at
whole
one point. It's very cute. Like I said, her energy's great. She's playful and fun, and it's like, you know, we're dealing with a lot of things that can bum people out. But we ultimately, despite the fact that I'll occasionally talk politics and sports, it's all about empowering, not diminishing your power. We got to acknowledge it, and on this show we can. On that show, we're not going to bother. It's okay. We don't have to. It's everywhere else. We don't have to. So thanks for being on for a little bit here, Lily.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you.
Are you going to be on tomorrow?
I'm going to do some pre-recording in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe you can help me with that. I don't know.
I would
around.
love to do
Yeah.
that because I don't know if you know, but I had surgery about 10 weeks ago.
No.
You haven't noticed anything
What happened?
different about me?
I'm trying not to, like if I.
Oh, come on.
Ladies,
you haven't noticed
men,
anything
if-
about me?
If you look, see the thing, I would get in so much trouble if I why is he looking at her chest?
So you noticed.
Yeah. Well, no, then this is the
I
thing.
think that I tell you about it
It's-
already?
you might have mentioned it briefly, but y'all ladies out there, don't succumb to the pressure to artificially grow your boobies. I'm just going to say it. Whatever you got, God gave you for a reason.
Yes.
Please, let that be. Because the illnesses and ailments, even from the saline implants.
That's right. The casing around
Yeah.
the implant,
Right.
whether it's silicone or
Yeah.
saline, is the same.
Right.
And there are over 40 neurotoxins on the outside of the saline, of the casing,
Yeah.
so the plastic. That's what brings it
Right.
together. So I am on a mission to make sure that people,
When
women
we've talked
know.
about this over the years,
Yes.
In fact, there are explant experts
Yes.
that will do this safely, just like removing. You got to be careful about
It's
how
a
to do that.
microplastic surgeon is
Right.
what they're looking for, and they
Yeah.
need to be really
I'm
good at
glad
it.
you brought that. I wasn't going to bring it up, but again, this is
Did you
important.
notice? Did you notice?
Well-
Did you notice my eyes?
Yes, very much so. Listen, but the thing is, the beauty that people have, and I said this to Elle McPherson because she was on earlier. You know, she's like, I didn't wear makeup. I'm like, no, your beauty comes from within. It radiates because of who you are, not the physical shell as much. I know that the Hollywoodized version, all that stuff. But as I said to ladies and men, just kind of back off this whole. It's all about the boobies. I know you can like the boobies, but don't encourage your loved ones to do that just for that physical, because you're going to have detrimental health impacts. It's just not worth it, in my opinion. Your opinion might be different, but I'm just going to say.
You know, the
Yeah.
woman who implanted at 30,
Mhm.
31, 32,
Yeah.
is not the same woman who explanted at 56.
Mhm.
And so I want the next 50 years of my life to be better than the first part. Not that
Yeah.
hey, my boobs walked the red carpet. They had a lot of fun. They've
Yeah.
traveled all around the world. But it was time.
Never heard that said on the show yet. That's cool.
Well, there's
Almost done.
always a
Yeah.
first time, right,
Yes.
Robert? So I just want to encourage women to do their homework, but don't buy into the hype, because there's
Right.
a lot of hype there too. 40% of women,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
they don't have symptoms, or maybe 40% of women want to get them out,
Right.
but the other 60%.
And we're
so
seeing
just
a
do their
lot more
homework.
women making the decision that Lily made, and
Yeah.
some, that are out there speaking out about it, thankfully, to help warn others. Please don't do that. It's not a good surgery to have those things put in you.
And it's
Yeah.
it's major surgery to have them out. So
Right,
they
it
need
is.
To make
It's
sure
big
so
time.
it was 3 hours. So, but I know that we need to get ready because we're going to party
I got to tux it up.
You got to tux it up, and
Yeah.
we're going to glam it.
Yeah,
And I'll
so.
be on the purple carpet a little bit.
We'll get some more pictures later.
Are they going to be streaming the purple carpet?
I hope so. Somebody will.
Okay,
so
so
maybe
stay
we'll
tuned.
do some.
Stay
So
tuned. We'll be right back.
thank
right?
you guys. Thank you. And thank you, Lily. Super Don, how was that? You didn't expect that to be a topic. I don't think.
You said it was bonus time.
I did say it was bonus time, and Lily brought it. Lily brought it.
Hey, listen, if I can't speak the truth, then I don't belong on radio, right?
Right.
Oh, wait a
There you
minute.
go.
Most people just read whatever they're
Right.
told, not speak the truth.
And remember, if you're a host and you're on TV, look at her eyes. Look her in the eyes.
You know, this is funny.
Yeah.
And when people see me for the first time, they go, hey, how
Yeah.
are you? And they want to look down to see what it looks like, and I say, hey, that's okay. You can look. You can look, and it's okay because things are different now.
Sure.
And so women, we need to get used to our bodies all over again. And it doesn't matter if you are getting explantation or if you just need to look at your body as you age.
Yeah.
Either way,
Yeah.
we are beautiful and we are enough. And that's I guess the final word for me.
Thumbs up. 2 thumbs up.
Have you ever heard a final word from me?
The final word from me?
Yeah, the final word from me, from you.
No,
What's
from
your
you.
final word?
I don't have a
I don't
final.
think-
My
I don't think
final
I've ever
words
had a
are always
final
the
word.
power to heal is yours. I'm not very creative. It's just what I say because I got to remind me and everybody.
And mine is you can take a pill or you can take responsibility.
Right. But you can't take a pill. Wait. Yeah, I get it. All right.
Okay,
Let me
thank
bring
you.
Super Don into the
So
mix here
nice.
and wrap it
Okay,
up.
bye, guys.
There's Super D. All right, Super D, thanks for hanging in for so extra bonus time. We got lots more healing to go, but we're out of time. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. That was really cool of Lily to come on and reference that. Really
Totally,
was.
yeah.
I appreciate that so much. I didn't expect it. We didn't. There she goes behind. She's great. She's hilarious too. So, and I see her husband now. So he didn't disappear. She was teasing. So, yeah, great bonus. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff we could do with more support. So, y'all, please keep sharing the Patreon account page so that we can get more direct support. That'll allow us to do even more of what you love to see and hear and feel. This empowering radio. Sometimes it's irreverent and silly. Always instructional when Super Don's in the mix because of the critical thinking skills he brings to the show.
Fascinating.
Fascinating.
As Spock would say.
Mr. Spock. All right, so shall we sign off then?
Yeah, let's do it. We'll be back. We'll have a show pre-recorded, but new content on Sunday, and then back live in the studio on Monday.
Sounds great.
All right, have a great weekend, guys.
Power to Heal is all y'all's. Okay,